What's going on? Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. We closed out a week 2 with a Monday night doubleheader. Steelers defense scored 2 touchdowns in a 26-22 win against Cleveland, but the headline is going to be the injury to Nick Chubb, who was carted off the field with a knee injury. Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski confirmed suspicions that after the game, Chubb will likely be done for the year. Another division game saw the Saints spoil number 1 overall pick Bryce Young's home debut with a 20-17 win over the Panthers. Young struggled to throw the ball effectively, passing for 153 yards, a touchdown, and a fumble. Young was also sacked 4 times. Some NFL hits and injury updates from over the league. Yesterday, Chiefs restructured quarterback Patrick Mahomes' contract, giving him $210 million over the next 4 seasons. Chiefs and Mahomes agreed to revisit the contract in 2026. Giants running back Saquon Barkley to miss approximately 3 weeks with an ankle sprain. Last night, Steelers safety Minkah Fitzpatrick left with a chest injury. He was being evaluated at a local hospital. We'll update you more on that when it comes in. Lions defensive end James Houston has an ankle fracture, out 6 to 8 weeks. And also last night, Panthers linebacker Shaq Thompson suffered a serious ankle injury and is out indefinitely. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Welcome to your Tuesday on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. We're powered by All 4 Seasons Garage Doors as we say goodbye to one football week and get ready for the dark 48 hours with 0 tackle football in your week. We've got Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, our producer. I'm Will Bowling. Mike Vrabel spoke to the media yesterday for the first time on a Victory Monday in Tennessee since November. We had 2 battles of mid played on 2 fronts in both Pittsburgh and in Charlotte last night in a Monday Night Football doubleheader to recap. And we had a Tennessee team that, well, I think wanted to be mid, but was much worse than that in Gainesville over the weekend as well. Recapping all of that and getting to everything we were not able to get to yesterday as we reacted to the Titans win with you. 615-737-1045 is our number. Good morning, everybody. How are we?
Good morning.
Good.
morning.
Yeah.
Hey,
Monday Night Football doubleheader. I guess I thought it was a true doubleheader, and I realized about an hour into the Carolina game, I said, I got to switch over. What am I doing here?
2-screen kind of night.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a 2-screen kind of night. I was wondering how they were going to, time them up. I remember, was it last year, the year before, they did the Monday night doubleheader.
Yep.
It started at like 5 o'clock. So it gives you enough time to actually, start another game right after that, one after another. No, they put 2 games on at the same time. And I was just like, you really think people want to watch this Carolina game?
How do you guys prefer it? Would you prefer it to be staggered? Because I fit into that camp.
Yeah.
When you have 2 games like that, even if one game is a lesser game, I'm going to watch both games. I would like the option to be able to watch both games fully. So when you have both games on at the same time, it's just a little troublesome. I understand they're trying to prioritize viewers by putting the games on late enough that the West Coast can also watch them, but I don't care. I'm selfish. I would like both games, please.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, I don't care. Stagger my games.
Yeah.
I'm okay with one quarter overlapping another if we have to do that, but to watch both of them together simultaneously, no, absolutely not.
I would just rather only have one Monday night game.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't
That's all
disagree
set.
with that either.
Okay. I'd say at the beginning of the season where we're trying to go to football overload, I'll take 2. I'll take 2.
They're doing another 2 next week, too.
They're doing it. Yeah, they
Yeah.
are. I did see that preview.
I think it's for the divisional head-to-heads. I could be wrong. I didn't look at next week's slate, but it would make sense that if they're putting like these, I'm doing air quotes, marquee matchups for divisions, it would make sense that they would try to slide those on Monday. But
the first thing that came to my mind?
the Steelers one?
No, well, I mean, you said it, not me. Was you should clip that and replay it. How about that?
What do you think? Clip that little clip,
Bert
boy.
is a Steelers fan.
If only you had the power Robert had.
Yeah.
I know. If only I had that power, man.
Then now that'll be clipped.
First thing that came to my mind was they're trying to satisfy TV contracts. That's the only thing I was thinking when I saw the 2 games. I was like, TV
That's all football
contracts.
is. It's just TV inventory.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So Monday is Philly at Tampa and LA at Cincy. So no, Bert, that doesn't line up.
That's a loser leaves town game for Cincinnati.
Yes, it
Oh,
is.
my God. I hope they leave town.
Before they come to the Titans and play.
You can't go 0-3.
They're also playing Monday night.
They are. Can I tell you what I was
Wow.
doing this morning on the way in? Because Browns fans actually found my new account and was at me and stuff like that. I was actively this morning, y'all, trying to find a Cleveland-based radio station. I was actively trying to find it just to listen to it this morning. I needed to hear the tears drop into cups.
Don't give away your analysis for free.
And I know I needed to. You're
Don't do
right.
that.
We're loaded. Hey, Titans fans. It was a brutal one last night in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
And Nick Chubb's situation. I know we'll probably talk about all that and stuff moving forward, but goodness, it was a significant drop when he left the game.
Dude, prayers out to him because seriously, that injury was one of the worst I've seen in terms of
You actually looked at it.
Yeah, it was bad.
Sicko.
I know, but I just wanted to see how significant it was. Ooh, it was.
Ugly. Yeah. Same knee he hurt in Neyland Stadium against Tennessee when he was a Georgia Bulldog.
That's terrible.
Brutal.
But, yeah, I was trying to find a Cleveland Browns stadium, and they don't have a YouTube anything. I wasn't about to spend time on like Sirius trying to find it, and all
I thought
that
you
type
would
of
call
stuff.
in too.
Don't tempt me, because they were getting real froggy this weekend. So yeah, man, sucks for Nick Chubb. That was brutal.
615-737-1045, the number coming up this morning. Top 7, bottom 3 is at 620. A little bit easier this week. It feels like, though, the middle 20 teams in the NFL are almost completely interchangeable because there are a lot of 2-0 teams that I'm not going to be fooled by, and there are a lot of 0-2 teams that I'm not going to be fooled by. Like, I would still put the Washington Commanders behind the Cincinnati Bengals if I was power ranking every team in the league. I don't care that Washington's 2-0 and that Cincy is 0-2. Cincy is still better than Washington, in my humble opinion. But at the same time, you got to punish teams like Minnesota who just aren't winning games. So the Chargers, who have scored 58 points and turned the ball over 0 times, and they're 0-2.
It's kind of like when you play fantasy football and you have a great week, but the last 2 weeks, the most points have been scored against your team. You just can't win. The name of the game is scoring more points than your opponent.
Very relatable.
That's very true, man.
720, you're not that guy. Austin Price of VolQuest.com at 820 this morning as we try to make sense of Tennessee's loss in Gainesville and Ron Slay. 3HL and Roof Loser at 920.
I will ask of him to put a roof on today, because of the funeral that the Vols had in Gainesville. But I doubt he's going to ever put the roof up. There'll still be some smoke coming out of the roof.
Of course.
But
There could be a roofless coffin.
is that – oh, wow. I have seen people do like people sitting up in the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
go.
can have that too. That's fair because they bamboozled us this weekend. They did. And I let my partner, Rob Ayers, I was like, dog, you got to be kidding me. You said you was coming back with a tooth. You came back toothless.
Toothless?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So he wasn't being very toothful when he said he would do that.
No, he wasn't at all. Well, and let me tell you, we may have lost as a fan base, but me and my partner, we won in that group chat with him, though. I don't care if you do work for the organization. We let him have it. You know what he said, man? After he texted us back at about like 9:30 last night, he said, "Thank God I have a real job unlike you two fools." He's like, because my job prevented me from seeing y'all dogging me out in this group chat. I was like, you right. You should be working right now. There's no sympathy, Kayla.
Get back to work.
Get back to work. Get on. Get, boy. That's what we was telling him yesterday, man. Embarrassment is what it was on Saturday night.
Yeah,
In front
not
of
the best
world.
game.
No, not even close. Not even close. I'm not gonna bury the lead here, but I was saying some stuff on the back porch that
I'm
was
sure you were. I would be
very
too.
unfavorable, very fanish of me, is what I'm saying.
615-737-1045, the number. You can watch the show on 1045 The Zone TV. Search 1045 The Zone on YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, or Twitch.
Twitch, please.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
615-737-1045 is how you join in on the discussion. And coming up next, we rank the best and the worst in the NFL. How many AFC South teams are still in our bottom three? Find out coming up next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. If you are a business owner or facility manager, you've got a lot on your plate. You've got a lot to keep up with, and that can include assessing your equipment and systems, evaluating your indoor air quality, maybe outlining new cleaning procedures, or even reviewing options for implementing touchless plumbing and electrical fixtures. That's a lot, but Lee Company can help you with it all. They have been in the facility management and maintenance business for decades. So put their professional expertise to work for you today. That's HVAC, electrical, and plumbing. You hear me say it all the time that Lee Company is all you need. Well, it really is true. They do it all. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or contact them online at leecompany.com. They're open 24/7 with 14 community locations here in Tennessee. They're in Kentucky and Alabama too. They know how to run your business's electrical system. 615-567-1000 or contact them online at leecompany.com. That's Lee Company, all you need. 615-737-1045, the number to jump in on your Tuesday morning of RKW. We're powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Available on your favorite podcast channel immediately after the show every single weekday morning. With Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, I'm Will Bowling. Top 7 and bottom 3, courtesy of number 73. Again, guys, I always have to preface that with the reason why we do this, because genuinely, we'd been doing top 7, bottom 3 for like 6 months last year, and I had no idea why.
Yep.
And then one day, Justin Schaefer mentioned it. It was like, oh, yeah, top 7, bottom 3, because you were number 73.
Yeah.
Until you mentioned it like 3 weeks ago, I had absolutely no idea. And then Jacob had to remind me what were the object of this was.
You
we
know,
were all in the same boat.
you know why I love this? Because I say all the times, after you're done, you're just that number in the pamphlet. Like, and this is a telltale sign of, this is why I never overhype myself with stuff. Like, dog, you did a job and you got out safely, man. Like, that's as much as it is to me. And that's why I hate guys that have like huge egos about the game too. 'Cause essentially, your number will be replaced, man. That's my little
To be
life
fair,
lesson.
though, we weren't here when this was originally created.
Oh, yeah. No
right?
no
So
doubt.
at
No,
least-
I'm not dissing y'all. I'm
at
just
least, you
saying,
know.
in general, dudes make themselves to be more than they are, is what I'm saying. And you just a number in the pamphlet after everything. I'm a dad now. I'm RJ and Miles' dad out here. I'm more known for that than anything.
Number 30. Start
30.
us off, number 73.
I got Bears.
Mm-hmm.
Put up a good fight going down in Tampa. Actually messed up my friggin' Thursday 3, but good fight, not good enough. Chase Claypool had a decent bounce back, man. So I got him at 30, up 1 spot from last week.
Okay. I have got the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, wow.
I don't hate this team because of Josh Dobbs. Like, that makes it easier for me to like a team because Josh Dobbs, and I think he has, talent, and he can be a quarterback in this league. However, like, there is no support there in terms of what's around him. I just feel like this is going to be a long year, and bless him, because that is something that I think he's relishing the opportunity of being a starter, but he can't fix what's around him, right?
Bless it. Like, bless it. That's all you can say.
Yeah, Dobbs looked good, running over dudes on the goal line. And, I mean, that was the Josh Dobbs we all grew to know and love at Tennessee,
Sure.
honestly. So certainly agree with you there. I'm going to go Chicago at 30 as well. Justin Fields is bad at football.
Oof.
Bad at football. Like, the guy is just, there are screen grabs of wide open wide receivers in the end zone, and my guy's just standing there taking sacks. I don't know if Chicago just broke him last year. I just maybe think he's just not that good. And it's kind of sad because I really thought he could be pretty solid and runs the football really well. He's a good athlete. But again, he's just not good at the sport.
I think a lot of people in that conversation are rooting for him.
Well,
They're rooting for
this
him.
last weekend was an eye-opening one, I think, for a lot of people. And a lot of Bears fans on social media, because Bears fans are everywhere, and they're everywhere on social media. It was kind of the day of like, oh, okay, yeah, he's not the guy.
Jeez.
I mean, they'll talk themselves into it by the time they play next week. But
you better believe it.
Chicago's defense also has not been great. Only 1 sack and no takeaways as they lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over the weekend. So give me Chicago at 30.
Okay.
I had the Panthers in this slot due to a stat, but I'm going to reverse it because I don't think I'm going to get the chance to do this many times. I'm going to put the Bengals at 30 because they are tied
Oh my
for
gosh.
the least points scored in the league with the Panthers at 27. The Houston Texans have scored more points than them. Any team you can name, any bad team you can name have scored more points than them. On defense, they don't look connected. That rush doesn't look as impactful. They went against a 3/5 of a Ravens offensive line this week, and I think they finished with a very low pressure rate. They got to Lamar one time, and I don't know. They need to fix it. I don't think they're the 30th team, but again, I didn't think I'd get the opportunity to do
Yeah,
this.
do it, Bert.
So I got the Bengals at 30.
That
I respect
AFC
it.
North hate runs deep.
Ooh, they stank,
Bro,
boys.
that's my
Respect
friend
it.
right there. That's my friend.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
That's my friend.
Number 31.
I got Panthers. It looked like they got a rookie on their team. They got issues right now trying to sign their outside rushers. They just look lost. They look depleted, and they're a full 53-man roster as it stands right now, man. With Adam Thielen, they got some guys there that have made plays across the league. They're just not a good team. I can't justify them not being in the bottom three.
They got a lot of mercenaries, too. Adam Thielen,
Yeah.
DJ
You know what I'm
Chark, Hayden Hurst. Like, a lot of their guys were just brought in this year.
Sure.
Like, hey, we'll get the most out of you. No, not when you got a rookie quarterback like that.
And in the NFC South, they are the only bad team so
Yeah.
far.
Dude, the Bucks.
'Cause
Tampa
Bucks
is
are
2-0.
surprising
New
people.
Orleans is 2-0.
Yeah.
Atlanta is 2-0, and Carolina is 0-2. So they're the
That's
only
nuts.
winless team. Yet the other three teams are undefeated.
Dang.
It's crazy there's only 2 undefeated teams in the AFC, and the NFC has 6.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting. We went into the season thinking, oh, wow, the AFC is miles better than the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in my top 7, it's mostly NFC teams.
And maybe that's the parity. Maybe that's the good teams beating up on each other. Like the Jags ran into the Chiefs. The Bills ran into whoever the hell they lost to week 1.
Yeah.
I'm brain's going foggy. but-
Was it Lions?
What'd you say?
No, it was Kansas City.
What were you talking about?
Whoever the Bills ran into week 1.
Jets.
Jets. So they ran
Overtime.
Yep. So like I think it's the parity. It'll probably shape out. But a lot of these AFC teams might end up with 9-7 records and be worlds better than their NFC counterparts.
Kay Oldham says they actually said Dobbs is good and Fields is bad at football. Hey, Kay Oldham, let me paint you a picture here. Fields is a first-round pick. Joshua Dobbs is not. Expectations are higher for someone who is a first-round pick out of Ohio State and was anointed to be a franchise quarterback. Dobbs is exceeding very low expectations with zero help in Arizona. Yeah. That's pretty simple. Thanks.
Look
I
at the
award you
play.
0 points and may God have mercy on your soul.
Okay. 31 for me is the Chicago Bears. Obviously, Justin Fields is struggling, but also this is a team that led the league in rushing in 2022. Where the hell is the ground game? Like, there is nothing.
Yeah.
That's another issue there in Chicago. I just think, and on top of it, you have no complementary defense. To me, they're a bottom tier team.
Yeah, bottom tier.
I'm going to go with Houston at 31.
Okay.
Looked bad against a backup quarterback for most of this game on Sunday against Indianapolis. Anthony Richardson, who looked great, by the way, early on in that game before he goes out with a concussion. So Houston, for me, C.J. Stroud was fine, threw for a lot of yards. That's about it that they've got at the moment. So give me them at 31.
I got the Cardinals here. I thought the offense looked fine. They've got a lot of pieces on offense. Zach Ertz, James Conner, Hollywood Brown. They've got the guys to throw to, but it's odd that they were able to jump out and score 28 points that early with a rookie defensive head coach. The defense has got to get fixed, and you would think that would be his bread and butter, but he's trying to make a fire out of wet wood. So if he can figure it out, they can hop out of the bottom 3, but I don't know if the Cardinals are capable of that. So I got them at 31.
That's fair.
Number 32?
I got Texans. Just bad. They got beat down. And again, transitioning to whatever this offense is going to be with a defensive-minded coach, not great, Bob. Simply put, they are the worst team in the NFL again.
Yeah, 32, Texans.
Yeah.
He said it all. We've said it all.
Mm-hmm.
Cardinals for me.
Okay.
You can't give up that kind of lead at home. I know it's the Giants. I know they're a pretty good team. On paper, you look at that loss in totality going into the week, like, oh, great. You kept it close against the Giants. All right. But when you have a lead like that, everyone in the NFL wins a game eventually, unless you are generationally bad. This was the kind of game Arizona needs to win. So I'm going to keep them at 32.
I slid the Texans there as well.
Okay. Number 7. Now it gets more fun.
There we go. Kansas City. They stay stagnant for me. Getting Chris Jones back is definitely a big thing. They got to figure out that offense, definitely, man. But I'm probably giving them the benefit of the doubt, and somebody should be in front of them. But I got Kansas City at 7.
All right.
Okay, I've got the Baltimore Ravens. I think just getting in the flow of Todd Monken's offense, I think we're seeing Lamar Jackson and get in the flow here now, and you can never go against that defense. So they land a spot at 7 for me.
I almost put Baltimore at 1. Genuinely.
What are you doing later,
I almost
Will?
put
Come
them
on.
on first or second.
What are you wearing
We'll
over
get to
there?
that
That
in a
computer
minute.
monitor's in the way.
Gosh. 7 is Buffalo for me. Josh Allen was back to pretty much normal. James Cook was outstanding, 17 carries for 123, and they've just got weapons. And they are a balanced offense that can run, they can pass efficiently. Give me Buffalo at 7.
I also went Bills at 7. Good to see Josh Allen back to his gunslinging ways. Love to be able to see him sling it all over the yard. The defense is going to get better. They are going to get guys back once they get Von Miller back, once they figure out how they're going to play this year. I think they could be a better team, but right now they're squarely at 7.
Fair enough. Number 6.
6 for me is Saints. 2-0 on the season. They moved in because the Lions got moved out for me. 2-0, can't deny it. Style of ball, I don't know how long it's going to last as far as them defensively dominating folks right now and not generating a whole lot offensively. But the defense is solid. They drag you to the deep end on how they play ball, and they're worthy of a number 16 being undefeated right now over Kansas City.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've got the Miami Dolphins. Look, as long as Tua Tagovailoa can stay healthy and, I think he proves that he's a quarterback that can play some good football in this league. And look, you cannot argue the fact that he's 5-0 against Bill Belichick. Like, that's crazy.
Tua?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
He has dominated the New England Patriots. So I'm going to go with 2 at 6.
And that one's interesting because if we were ranking
2 at 6, the Dolphins at 6.
if we were ranking Super Bowl contenders right now, our lists would probably look pretty different. Like Miami wouldn't be as high because, Tua's got to stay healthy for a whole season and all these things. But like Miami, another team I considered putting at 1. They are world beaters right now, just like they were last year when Tua was healthy. So got to keep him upright. I'm going Kansas City at 6. I still don't think they have nearly as good a weapons as they have had in the past. I still think Kadarius Toney is one of the dumbest players in football. Dumbest not meaning his intelligence, just like dumb things happen when he is making plays. Like I'm not going to call a human being just an idiot, but like he makes idiotic plays on the field. So, but still that defense is great. I still think if Chris Jones is healthy against Detroit, they win that game. Not even really Travis Kelce. I just think if they literally just have Chris Jones, they might win that game. But I'm still going to put Kansas City 6. Going to Jacksonville winning is tough to do now. That's a wild thing to think about, but that's still an impressive win, regardless of how bad Trevor Lawrence and the Jags looked.
You did what I wanted to do. I wanted to drop the Chiefs that low, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. That other loss in the column is really hurting them visually. But here I went with the Ravens. It's a war of attrition. I think they look good. They look like they're in midseason form on offense, but they came into the Bengals game with 5 starters unavailable. They left the Bengals game with now 7 starters, Odafe Awe and Odell Beckham had an ankle injury. So at some point you can only have so many inactives. You have to start dressing injured guys. So they need to get on the right side of the injury. They need to start getting guys healthy. And if they do that, I think they'll play great football. Yeah. So I got the Ravens at 6.
Okay.
Fair.
Wow, Bert.
I can't get too.
I'm with you on
If
those
you'll
things,
notice
Bert.
anything about me, I am not a little stitious. I am very stitious, and you will never hear me stoking any Raven ego. I'm very middle of the road. I'm happy with how they did, but my expectations are not super high.
Okay.
One game at a time.
All right.
Number 5.
Number 5 for me, stay stagnant. And that to me is the Miami Dolphins, the high school football team.
You mean college?
No, high school football team. The stuff that they're doing out there and how their coach is very charismatic with them, very high schoolish with what they're doing right
Like
now.
He looks
running
like he's in high school.
the same route concept like 20 times.
That's what I'm saying.
It's that, what is it, the stick, wheel, slant?
That's all they're doing.
Every single time. Tyreek Hill on the stick, Jalen Waddle on the slant, and then one of their tight ends or other wide receivers on the wheel outside.
They remind
Every
you
time.
They remind you here in Tennessee what Lipscomb was doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that fair comparison? Like Lipscomb last year?
I mean,
Interesting.
Yeah, they get the ball out of the hands of Tua within a second.
2 seconds.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, they really not overthought this.
They're one of those teams that if Miami stays healthy, they have as good a chance as anyone.
Right.
I just don't expect them to stay healthy.
And as long as Eli Apple's out there,
Well,
he continually
Oh,
do
goodness.
silly
Well, that's the
things.
thing. If they can get back some of their defensive players, including Jalen
Right.
Ramsey, that
Yeah,
could be
well,
really deadly.
they also got him waiting to be unwrapped.
number 5, Kayla.
I got the Buffalo Bills. Look, it's good to see, now not personally, but for them to see Josh Allen with the clean sheet, right?
Mm-hmm.
No turnovers, protected the ball, got a little bit of the run game going. I think if Josh Allen can just be the Josh Allen that he was in that year where he was really, really good and protect the football, that's a great team.
Yeah.
But we haven't been able to see that consistently.
Oh, at all.
So great, you had a clean game, but what's tomorrow bring?
Number 5 for me, the Philadelphia Eagles. Don't have the same juice on offense with a new offensive coordinator so far. Need to see it. I'm more impressed by 2 other teams of the AFC that I'll get to in a minute. Philadelphia deserves to be dropped a bit for their performance against Minnesota at home. I know they've scored a lot of points. Their defense created a lot of turnovers against Minnesota that were given to them. I'm putting Philadelphia at 5. They got to figure some things out on offense.
I went with the Cowboys here. I think they're benefiting from drawing 2 teams that weren't particularly ready for the challenge when they met them. They blew the Giants out week 1 40-0, and they got an Aaron Rodgers-less Jets team. Dak looks like Dak, but if that defense can keep coming around, Micah Parsons is special, man.
Yeah,
and that defense is going to keep them in a lot of games as long as Dak doesn't throw it away for them. So Cowboys at 5, but I can see them dropping out of the top 7 when they play some better competition.
Number 4.
I'm going right back to Dallas with Burt. I actually dropped them from 3 to 4 this week. For those same reasons that Burt had right there.
Wow.
Being able to trust what they actually are going to do over the long haul and the teams that they've played, right, wrong, and indifferent. It's probably a little bit of Cowboy hate, too. I'm just going to throw that out there, too. I believe it, but I don't trust it.
I've got the Kansas City Chiefs. I think it's hard to ever drop them too much when you know who's quarterbacking that team. It's great to see Travis Kelce is back. Chris Jones obviously back. I think it's hard to say they won't get in a groove. They've had these shaky starts in the past as well, and they've always come out on the right side for the most part. So they're at 4.
Miami Dolphins at 4 for me. They stay healthy. I think they are a contender. And right now, Tua Tagovailoa is one of the best betting candidates for the MVP.
Wow.
So give me Miami 4th.
Okay.
And plus, hard to win in primetime in New England, regardless of which washed former Alabama quarterback is playing for them at any given moment.
By the way, I think Tyreek Hill said those fans are so nasty. I can attest to that. When I went there to cover the playoff game, those fans are nasty.
There you go.
I went with the Chiefs at 4. I wanted to bend them over my knee and be like, "You've got to act right. Stop it. Stop being this team." But they just don't pass the elite eye test for me. That offense is still missing a spark. They're going to need somebody else, not named Travis Kelce, to step up for them to be that number 1 or number 2 team we thought they were coming into this year. They got a lot of time to fix it, but they're going to have to. Chiefs at 4.
Number 3.
Number 3 actually moved up the spot. Baltimore Ravens. Defense is going to always be solid. Lamar throwing passing touchdowns on top of everything right now is very promising for you guys, Bert.
I'll go ahead and say that is my number 3 as well.
Okay, my number 3 is the Dallas Cowboys. When you have a defense like that led by Micah Parsons, that guy is special, like extremely special. Dak's playing what kind of football he needs to play right now. I think Mike McCarthy is having fun actually coaching this team. For once, he's not maybe getting all the scrutiny that he's got in the past. They seem to be clicking on all cylinders. Now, I'm cautious about this because Dallas never ends up doing what they're supposed to do. But I'm speaking of this week. So for this week, I'm going to put him at number 3. That could very well change next week.
That's true.
I've got the Eagles at 3. I think that defensive front is just too nasty. Jalen Carter being in the top 3 of pressure rates this early in the season is nuts. The offense is lacking, but I think that they figured that out. I got the Eagles at 3.
So number 2, quickly.
Niners.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Niners, too.
Kayla?
I got the Eagles. Look, I get it. It doesn't look crisp right now. They've got some new coordinators. I think it's going to come together. You just heard what Bert said about the front, so they're still at 2 for me.
Dallas at 2. They carved up a really good defense over the weekend, even if Zach Wilson was playing quarterback for Gang Green.
I got the Dolphins here. That firepower is too much, even if their defense is mediocre.
Fair. Number 1, Ramon?
My number 1 is still Philly.
Okay.
I like it.
Kayla?
Oh, Niners. Niners they haven't done anything to show they're not number 1.
49ers for me as well.
Agreed.
Okay.
615-737-1045, our number. Coming up, the NFL is worried about running backs faking injuries. Grievance from the league to the NFLPA that's interesting that we'll dive into coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster and Will Bowling for Kellum Stem Cell Institute. Man, you guys have been here. Let's talk about football injuries. I'm sure you guys have some inflammation in your body that you want to get took care of. Make yourself feel better is what we're asking you right now. And right now, they have an exclusive September special where you book a procedure in the month of September, get a 10% discount to all the Zone listeners. This is only for the Zone. Remember, mention the Zone and get 10% off, and be sure to tell them that Ramon and Will sent you also.
That's right, Ramon. And there is something you can do about those aches and pains that you've got. Maybe you've got one area that it just always feels sore. Well, Kellum Stem Cell Institute, they can help you with that, relieving that soreness, reducing inflammation. This is how you take care of your body the way a professional athlete does. Dr. Kellum's worked with Team USA. He's the former team doc of the Boston Celtics. He's worked with several individual players and major franchises. You need to check out this website, KellumStemCellInstitute.com. That's KELLUM StemCellInstitute.com. Kicking off your Tuesday morning on RKW, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Coming up in hour number 2, what worried you the most in Tennessee's loss to the Florida Gators? Tough one for the Vols in the Swamp. Stop me if you've heard that before. We'll recap it coming up in 15 minutes before we get to You're Not That Guy at 7:20. Our weekly Tuesday segment coming up. 615-737-1045 is the number. The NFL is worried about running backs faking injuries. And, Ramon, this is something that you genuinely said maybe exactly 1 month ago.
I did.
That if you're Jonathan Taylor, got a little paper cut. Sorry, can't go today. Oh, shoot, I slept on the wrong side of the bed. My back's hurt a little bit. And the NFL has filed a grievance now against the NFLPA, alleging that union leaders, including President J.C. Treader, have advised running backs to, quote, consider feigning or exaggerating injuries to help increase their leverage in contract negotiations.
Fighting fire with fire, you just don't announce that as a group. You get the money, you get the franchise tag, whatever you have to do, and you know what you do? You just, hey, man, my hamstring is a little messed up. But you know what, man? I've been dealing with this migraine for a while. Like, there's ways around for you to go collect your bag. Like, it legitimately is if they don't value you enough. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, you signed the contract, you're under contract, do the work and all those things. But I think we all understand what's going on at the running back position, the power that they hold. You watch what happened to Nick Chubb last night, and you say, goodness gracious, that was a rough position to play. And then, of course, publicly be devalued by not just the NFL as a business, but by people in the media. The four-letter networks and everything devalue what the running back's capability are at times by discussing it and bringing it up and how guys move on so quickly at that position. It just is what it is. If you're one of those guys that have one of those types of contracts, use your leverage in those moments. If you feel like you need to protect yourself going into a next year situation, business is business when it boils down.
Well, and when you look at this, obviously a lot of this is stemming from Jonathan Taylor, right? And the situation that's gone up there with the Colts. And there's a lot that goes into that, too. Like, he was pretty much told by his owner, Jim Irsay, that he ain't ish.
Right.
That if Jim Irsay and Nick Chubb weren't here tomorrow, nobody would care. Like, if you're a running back and that's the feeling that somebody told me that's my owner and I'm putting my body on the line. Yeah, I'm getting paid, but I'm also trying to win your franchise games. And I've been a guy that has done that for your franchise. And he says that to me? Like, it's a weird situation.
It changes the conversation.
And it does.
Yep, absolutely does.
The league is arguing that any player who took the union's advice and faked an injury would be violating the collective bargaining agreement. I think you also open Pandora's box when you put things on the injury report just to give your guys maintenance days at practice also.
Yep.
The league and teams and organizations are also working on faking injuries and trying to manipulate the injury report as much as they can from week to week. So you open Pandora's box and allow players to do that as individuals and as positions when you also do the exact same thing. I do think it is interesting, though, that the players bargained for this CBA as well.
Yes, they did.
The players have a say.
Yes, we did.
So I kind of understand where the league is coming from to say, look, if you're not playing in good faith, if you're not putting your best foot forward, then why should we? You're violating the CBA just like we would be if we didn't pay you and just decided that, we don't like the way one position is taking over this thing. Well, we're not going to pay you what. I mean, I don't know. Like, I see both sides.
And the league did do that in that 2011 lockout year where they silently agreed not to pay or they silently agreed to put a cap on an uncapped year. Remember, it was the Cowboys and I think the Washington Commanders that got in trouble behind that from their own owners. That does happen. It is a snake style of business. It's sneaky.
Yeah,
it's very it's rough to get value out of yourself as a running back these days. And I would almost say to the league, who's upset about this, well, did you reprimand Irsay with his comments about it? Like, I get he's under contract, but to publicly and openly say the stuff that he said, opinionated or not, going rogue or not, I still think that was very immature and really told the tale of why these guys feel the way they do.
Was he wrong, though?
Was he wrong? As a businessman, no.
Then I don't know how you can reprimand him then.
Well, if you just so happen to so what do you say to a running back that does happen to have a phantom injury out of nowhere? Can you prove it? It's a matter of how much are you willing to criticize a player to prove these types of things.
Oh, I agree.
You know?
I agree with that part, too, that what does the NFL really think that they have the power to do? It's the exact same reason why college football players against tempo are faking injuries every other drive. Are you really going to call somebody out on it?
Can you call somebody out on it?
No.
No, you cannot.
Of course not.
One of one of the craziest stories around the league was Percy Harvin. Like, that's allegedly that he would catch migraines. And I think he did suffer from them, but he didn't practice.
I think it comes down to just the fight that is brewing the next time the CBA is up. And it's both sides putting things on the record. That way, when contractually you really can change what the ink that has already dried says, you have precedent to say, hey, we've got documented statements we've made to you in September of 2023 about this position, about X, Y, or Z, about faking injury. It has nothing to do with something that's going to change now. Mm-hmm. It's just the legalese that you can point back to once the negotiating actually does begin. 615-737-1045 our number. What worried us the most from Tennessee's disastrous day in Gainesville? We dive into the Vols' loss in the swamp coming up next.
It's Ramon and Kayla with more about Window Nation, y'all. And more from Window Nation when it comes to new windows. Window Nation always gives you more. But now, guess what? They're giving you even more. The more windows you buy, the more you save. Up to 50% off, plus a lot more. You'll pay nothing for 2 full years, and it's another amazing deal on the windows that deliver more for your home. More energy savings, more value, more features, more options, and more beauty.
And right now, get this, 0, 0, 0 for 2 years. No money down, no payments, no interest for 2 full years. Plus, you can get 50% off all styles of windows. They have a lot to choose from. Bow, bay, double hung, any style. And when we talk about saving on your energy bills, we really mean it. I know that we're getting into the fall months and you're probably going to turn down that AC, but guess what? The heat's going to be cranking up here soon, and you can save so much with good windows from Window Nation. Keep that heat inside and don't let it get out. So make sure that you choose our friends from Window Nation. They have installed over 2 million windows with a 96 perfection rate, making them one of the top window companies in the country. Do yourself a favor. Check them out online at windownation.com or call them 866-90Nation.
What's going on? Good morning. It's 7:01 from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. We closed out a week 2 with a Monday night doubleheader last night. Steelers defense scored 2 touchdowns to win 26-22 against Cleveland, but the headline is going to be the injury to Nick Chubb, who was carted off the field with a knee injury. Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski confirmed suspicions. What the hell's going on? After the game, affirming that Chubb will likely be done for the year. Another division game saw the Saints spoil number 1 overall pick Bryce Young's home debut with a 20-17 win over the Panthers. Young struggled to throw the ball effectively, passing for 153 yards, a touchdown, and a fumble. Young was also sacked 4 times. Some NFL hits and injury updates from the league. Chiefs restructure quarterback Patrick Mahomes' contract, giving him $210 million over the next 4 seasons. Chiefs and Mahomes agreed to revisit the contract in 2026. Giants and running back Saquon Barkley is scheduled to miss approximately 3 weeks with an ankle sprain. Last night, Steelers safety Minkah Fitzpatrick left with a chest injury, and he was evaluated at a local medical facility. We'll get an update on him later today, possibly. Lions defensive end James Houston has an ankle fracture. He's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks, and Panthers linebacker also suffered an injury last night to his ankle, and he is going to be out indefinitely. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
And the show goes on into hour number 2 on your Tuesday morning edition of RKW. We're powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Talking Vols with you. 615-737-1045, the number. And with Austin Price coming up at 8:20. Ron Slay at 9:20 calms us down a little bit. Sits us down on the couch. Ron is amazing at exciting us, but also talking us down. Yeah. Exciting us when things are good,
Right.
Calming us down, giving us a cool, calm perspective when things don't go well in the swamp. We'll get that coming up at 9:20. You're Not That Guy is coming up in 15 minutes. If you want to go ahead and start the line, if you want to take a number but not wait, 615-737-1045. If there is something in the football weekend in your life and anything in between that you would like to complain about, we air those grievances every Tuesday morning at 7:20. With Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, our producer. I'm Will Bowling. And the Vols forgot how to play football again in the swamp. It's Groundhog Day.
Yeah, they did, Will. I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to believe it. And you know what? I think there was a spark there. And then, of course, they took it to the swamp and buried it. That's exactly what they did. They took it to the swamp and buried it, man. Just, I'll be completely, a pathetic game. Let's just throw that word out there. Pathetic. Yeah. It was pathetic. That's simply what it was. Tackling, cheeks. Offensive scheme, cheeks. Physicality, cheeks. Ability to respond, cheeks. Everything about that trip down to Gainesville, Will, and I'm sorry you had to go down there and witness it with your own eyes.
You and me both.
And not your television. It was absolutely horrendous is what it was.
Yeah, I mean, I look back at some of the things last week that, we were doing to preview this game, and shame on me, because I thought Billy Napier and his staff were the guys that would be not as prepared, right?
Yeah.
I just don't see that culture's been established yet, and rightfully so. There's still 1 foot in, 1 foot out on fans until this game, I feel like, when they came in and had a better game plan than Josh Heupel and his staff, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think that game for them, for Florida and Billy Napier, was almost like a must-have in a way, because if Napier and them wouldn't have won that, I think fans would have been 100% out the door. Now you maybe think, okay, they've got a little hope in this guy. But for Tennessee, I expected them to come in and win for the first time since 2003. Because I felt like Josh Heupel had the better coaching staff and had his guys better prepared at this moment.
And I'll say this, everything I said today, I need to preface by saying, in no way am I asking for Heupel's head.
No.
of course
I feel like we have to
Absolutely
say that
not.
because that is always going to be a conversation when you have a bad showing like that, okay?
Yeah.
That is forever going to be the preference on everything I say today, so jot that down.
For me, it was less about coaching and more about talent, discipline. Couldn't win one-on-one matchups in the run game on either side of the football. Tennessee was 5 against 5 on the offensive side of the ball, and they couldn't block Florida defensive linemen off the football. There are two big problems for me in this game. First of all, the fact that Georgia's getting pressure with 4 down linemen against a 6-man Tennessee protection consistently in this game. And now the book is out on how to beat Joe Milton. Play cover 2, keep your safeties deep, play one-on-one in the run game against Tennessee's offensive line, and trust that Tennessee's offensive line isn't as good as it was last year, and you can win one-on-one against them, which you weren't able to do last season, and you can devote more guys to stopping the pass down the field. To me, it's a simple strategy, but it comes down to the guys up front just got whipped.
Yeah, they
Got their
did.
butts kicked all night on
And they-
both sides of the football.
they
And
helped
we said
themselves
it all
penalties.
week. We said it all week that the team that ran the football better would win the game. I think our analysis was spot on last week. Tennessee just didn't hold up its end of the bargain. And that happens, right? I mean, it doesn't mean that Heupel isn't the guy. It doesn't mean that Joe Milton isn't the guy. We'll get more to that as the show goes on, too. But honestly, like, the fact that you can't block against 5 Florida defensive players with your 5 offensive linemen, that includes Javonte Spraggins, who you feel like is one of the best run blockers in the SEC, where was he in this game?
Obsolete.
The
He was
center
getting pushed
guard
back.
triangle for Tennessee was wretched against Florida, and the pre-snap penalties hurt too. Back-to-back weeks with 10 penalties. Guys, the last time Tennessee won a game outside of Tennessee was a noon game in Baton Rouge last year. Before that, at Pittsburgh. And they didn't look good in that game either. I think Tennessee's got an issue going on the road with this offense. I really do. That's my second issue with this. They're not disciplined away from Neyland Stadium. They were in the Orange Bowl. That was kind of a home game in Miami. Vanderbilt, that's always a home game for Tennessee. That's not a real road game. Those 2 games you throw out the window. Tennessee has to be more disciplined away from Neyland Stadium. It lost them the South Carolina game. It lost them the Georgia game. It almost lost them the Pittsburgh game last year. There needs to be a healthy amount of concern about the pre-snap penalties and the offensive line just no-showing consistently on the road.
And I think that was the biggest thing for me is you couldn't run the ball against a 5-man box when you got 3, count them,
That's
3
what I was gonna
very
say, 3.
solid running backs behind you also.
Yep.
Along the way of them being in a position to spread you out and run the ball against a soft 5-man box. So that's why you do those things. My other biggest issue was this. Florida figured it out too, and maybe other teams will moving forward. If you want to stop that offense from really pumping out numbers, you get your hands up real fast. You bat the balls down because if it's not going anywhere and you can't protect long enough, they're throwing it to the sideline and letting the wide receivers just try to be athletes. And that hit ahead this past weekend, considering Florida had a really good, well, they showed to have a good defensive front. That was an issue to me. And the other biggest issue that lies in this offense was I love the spreading out of it, but work the middle. Florida's linebackers were not stressed across the middle of this across the middle of their defense. It was probably one of the easiest called games for their defensive coordinator. Send your dudes up front to go be guys and get sacks and pressure Joe Milton. Boom, did that. Also, when they throw the ball out to the sideline for that wide receiver screen, attack it. There's no other way behind it. They did nothing. The play that the Chargers ran on Sunday where Keenan Allen just streaked down the sideline, they had no variations off of that this past weekend. And I'm thinking to myself, the middle of the field is wide open. At least confuse them. And one more thing, too. Joe, move the ball with your leg. That is one thing I will say that Hendon did a really good job of last year. It's okay to run the ball. Okay?
That's a big
As
deal.
long as you protect yourself and get down. Hendon Hooker did a really good job of that. Did you think, oh my gosh, Hendon, get down? Yes, you did. But he did it in a safe enough way to where it extended the offensive play calling. They couldn't get first downs and continue to drive. You guys know, like I know, if you get that first ball batted down, and they did often in the game, 2nd and 10 is hard getting. It's hard to get 10 yards in almost any sport when you look at any level when you look at it if you're 2nd and 10. There's not much you can do behind it, especially if you're not able to move the line of scrimmage. And they got bullied, okay? They really did.
Really, the only bright spot in that game for Tennessee with special teams. And so you look at defense, you talked about it, the missed tackles. Can't have that.
Nope.
Looked sloppy. The offense just looked out of whack, and you have to win on both sides of the ball, like we said, in a place like the Swamp, regardless of what that Florida team is. And look, I still don't think that Florida team is that great.
They were good that night.
And that can happen. That can happen. The only positive I take from this situation, guys, is that it happened early enough in the season where I feel like there's corrections that can be made from this as you dig deeper into SEC play.
You want to correlate it to the way LSU lost early and then steamroll late.
Yep.
I can live in that world, but I choose not to. I'm with you. I'm riding in the passenger seat with you on that one.
You guys are the Vols fans. I'm an outsider,
I know,
so.
But I just look at it and I say to myself, there was zero from what I could tell. And I'm not in that room and, in those meetings.
Do you
after
not
the
trust
fact.
in Josh Heupel?
No, I trust in Josh Heupel. My thing is the adjustments that needed to be made on the fly.
Right.
They attacked the defensive right side of the ball. Florida's offensive left side, time and time and time again. So we saw no real adjustments from that, and we saw no adjustments to the game plan as far as switching up the offense a little bit
Which
more.
is Heupel.
Or guys challenging themselves to be better too. It's one thing if you believe in the offense as a player, okay, I'm going to run it and go. I just got to win sometimes. It wasn't enough winning done either though, Kayla. Like, that's my biggest thing. Well, there wasn't enough winning that happened man to a man.
Yeah, it was one-on-ones.
It was the one-on-ones. Which
Simple as that.
I can believe in that offense.
Mm-hmm.
And the offense has shown that it's good. But to not win your one-on-ones, to not fight back, and if the defensive calls have been working and have been good for you, why did you not adjust to it as a player specifically? I knew they were telegraphing the run to the left side for Florida's offense.
Didn't win enough one-on-ones and made too many mistakes pre-snap to put them behind the chains and make it even harder. I think for Joe Milton, he is far from the top of the list of things that are wrong with Tennessee this year. Far from it. But at the same time, he is not going off script to just make a play out of nothing the way Hendon Hooker did last season. And that's a very high bar. That's why I said all offseason, Tennessee is not going to get the same level of play at the quarterback position as it did from Hendon Hooker, which is not a conversation on Joe Milton. It's just the fact that you had a Heisman candidate. Mm-hmm. You had the guy that, if he stays healthy, is in New York. Should have still been in New York either way. So who else is going to raise their own level to make up for the drop-off you're going to have at the quarterback position? Joe Milton isn't getting the help that he needs from everyone else to raise the level of the entire team and the entire offense. That's why it has stayed stagnant. You're not as good at quarterback. Okay, well then who's going to be better around him? Nobody else is stepping up.
Who does he need the help from the most? The offensive line at this point? Because you've got a room full of talented wide receivers. You got a three-headed monster as running backs.
The OL.
O-line's got to be way better.
Yeah.
Way better, or else he's got no shot to be half as good as Hooker was, and that's out of his control at that point. We'll talk more Vols coming up at 8:20 when Austin Price joins us. 615-737-1045 is our number for a little You're Not That Guy coming up next.
Something awesome is happening at Genesis Diamonds this Friday through Sunday. You guys know I've been telling you a diamond doesn't expire, okay? But I know you've been hearing about this for a little while. It's big, okay? It's a 3-day designer engagement ring event showcasing the world's top two brands in bridal jewelry, Tacori and Veraggia. Tacori from California and Veraggia from New York. Both here with their entire lines, including all new rings for this special event. You can explore hundreds of exquisite American-made designer rings, too. Plus, Genesis will have special incentives like zero-interest financing and up to $5,000 in instant savings. In addition, Genesis has an expanded selection of GI-certified diamonds for this 3-day event, all shapes, all sizes, rock-bottom prices. This is the best of the best. Every Tacori ring is handcrafted by master artisans with exceptional quality, and every Veraggia ring is made by hand with unmatched attention to detail. These are brands other jewelers only wish they could offer. But at Genesis, they have the entire Tacori and Veraggia collections. Don't miss this bridal jewelry event of the year. It's this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Genesis Diamonds.
Tuesday morning on RKW is powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Lots to complain about if you are a Vols fan this weekend, or if you're another fan. If you don't really care either way, 615-737-1045 is our number for You're Not That Guy. Every Tuesday, right here at 720. Six 615-737-1045, the number for You're Not That Guy. Who leads off this morning?
I think this was fitting. I'll lead off if y'all cool with that, man. Nobody
Go for
said anything first. It's this one for me, man. Leaving Nissan on Sunday.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Very interesting. Everybody's trying to get out of there. We understand that the highways should be a little bit wider, and everybody's trying to find space on the road to get out of there, get home so they can see the mid-afternoon games and everything, right? I don't need you running up beside me, driving on the shoulder, weaving in and out of traffic when it's thick on the roads anyway. I just told you that it's tight on the highways around home, either side when you leaving out of there. Why are you pressing me to get over when you should have got over a half a mile back just because you feel like it's more important for you to go home than me? No, sir, ma'am, lady, family, old head, young pup who's driving, whatever you want to call yourself, out of town or driving past me. Stop, okay? If we all just do the zipper effect and just drive down the road like decent human beings, we will make a very efficient drive home, okay? If I see you driving on the shoulder, guess what I'm going to do? I am going to creep over a little bit, okay? I'm going to squeeze the same way DBs do wide receivers on the sideline. You got me? I'm going to use the sideline against y'all, man. For the people that do that or don't leave the game early because you think you're supposed to be around a little bit longer than Nissan, Bert, hit it for them, because they're not those guys, man. I hate those folks, man.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
That also brings up, you talk about the zipper effect. The worst thing is when someone stops to then turn left if you're like in an on-ramp or something. Like, go to use all the space. There are people behind you that are trying to get through the light that need to take all of that space. Yeah, the zipper merging in this city is a big problem.
It is.
Big problem.
I will go next. So this is a weird one because there's like two You're Not That Guys in one.
Okay.
So I'm going to go to Colorado this past weekend where there was a big rivalry matchup between Colorado and Colorado State. In the first half, as you guys probably have seen all over, Rams defensive back Henry Blackburn had an illegal hit on Colorado star player Travis Hunter, who is phenomenal,
absolutely.
like who has been one of the talks of college football early on this season. So in its own right, that is a You're Not That Guy moment. But bigger than that is the fact that Henry Blackburn is getting death threats that they're having to investigate because he's literally getting called for his family, for him. Like, people, we cannot take things that far where you're calling in death threats for a college student, a college athlete. I get it. It was a dirty hit. I get that. But you can't be doing that.
Yeah, that's fair.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Fair?
I know it was serious, but it's something that needs to be called out.
It should be called out. Definitely.
I am also heading to Colorado for my You're Not That Guy for a pair of tweets that were sent out. One of them to Dante, who says, the hate that Deion Sanders and the Colorado football team is venturing far beyond disliking them. It is a generational hatred. It's the type of hatred people have of confident people. This is not just football, it's race hatred. And then there's a tweet from FanDuel Sportsbook, one of the many betting apps that are clamoring for your money, that says, set the line, 2019 LSU versus 2023 Colorado.
Oh.
Hey, guys, Colorado's not that good. They are not that team quite yet, okay? And when you're saying that this is generational hatred, You're going to bring race into this? We have to do infinitely less. Do you understand how much Nick Saban is hated every time he goes anywhere? How much Urban Meyer was hated every time he went anywhere at Florida, at Ohio State? Let's pump the brakes just a little bit. Let's tap them just to make sure they're going to work on the way downhill. Colorado is an incredible story. They are great television. They deserve a ton of credit for starting the season 3-0. They are also not a generational team in terms of how much they're hated or how good they are. Please, let's just be cool just for a little bit. You're not that guy.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
That's fair.
I'm going to go with something. I don't think this is a new thing, but I'm noticing it more and more. And it really upsets me because a lot of people like to say that they are fans, that they're fans of I'm a huge fan of this team. I go to every game. But in just the last 2 weeks, and my own team is a victim of this, I've noticed home fans booing their own team. It makes zero sense to me. I noticed the Bengals doing it last week. The Ravens did it in week 1. The Giants did it, getting blown out 40-0, and the Browns did it last night. I do not understand paying money to go see your team, someone that you buy their merchandise, you wear it. People start conversations with you based off this fandom. And when you go to these games, you scream your hearts out on third down. You're screaming so loud that the next day at work, they're like, tough weekend? But when it comes down to your team not winning or not doing something offensively that you thought they should, you boo them? You are not a fan. You are not a fan. You're a fan of winning. You are not a real fan. If I see anybody booing the home team, if I'm at a Ravens fan, if I'm at an ECU game and they go for a screen on 3rd and 14 and don't get it and you boo the offense, don't sit around me. Don't hang out. Don't call yourself a fan. Don't come to the tailgate and go, oh, we really got him today, didn't we? You are not him. I don't understand it, and it really bothers me with all these fake fans, these entitled fans that think they deserve a winning product. It is hard to win in the NFL. It's hard to win in college. It's hard to win anything. Play me a Monopoly, it's hard to win. So if they do win, great. If they lose, no skin off my back because they care about this way more than you do. Stop booing your team at home. You're not that guy.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Couldn't agree more.
Sorry, that just
couldn't agree more.
Bothers me to no end. Like you just like winning. You just like seeing 300-yard passing games.
Yep.
You like seeing statistics. You like bragging at the water cooler. You're not a real fan.
There were literally people in my section of the Titans game booing the Titans offense in the fourth quarter.
I don't like what. Okay, we like to believe that the fans affect games correctly. Like so when you go to games and you want to scream like this, you're affecting the game positively. What does it do when you boo your own team at home? This is supposed to be the advantage. And they have to come off the field and hear you booing them. Now, I'm not a professional athlete. I don't know what the psychology goes into this. But if the team that I have on my back is booing me as I walk off the field, what does that do for my motivation? Mm-hmm. What does that do to that doesn't incite me at all. In professional wrestling, they have this thing called babyface fire. Like the guy getting beat up fires up. And it's because the crowd gets behind him to give him that energy. I wouldn't want to fight for nothing. I'd go sit on the bench and I'd have 12 holding calls. Heck with y'all.
Alex in the FNN Bank chat says, we don't pay to see trashed Titans for 23 years. Cool, then don't pay. Let someone else who wants to actually support the team pay to go to the game. No one's making you go to the game and pay your money. If you really are that disappointed in them, just don't go. What a wild concept. It is spoiled. It is completely spoiled to boo your own team.
Well, the chat is generally disagreeing with all of our stuff today.
I'm getting texts, hand claps for you, okay,
yes.
Bert?
It's completely ridiculous. Completely ridiculous to boo your own team.
You can clap or boo me. I don't care. I'm not y'all's home team, but that's how I feel, and I am a real fan.
That is fair, dog. Wow. You're a fan of winning.
Bert wins. You're not that guy today.
That's hands down. Wow. You're not a fan of, you're a fan of winning. I get when it's bad, but guess what you're going to do the next week? You're probably going to be right there in the building.
It is interesting. The team that I thought was the funniest to get boos were the Bengals. Bengals fans booing that offense, as bad as you've been for your whole history, to boo Joe Burrow.
Which is cool. Y'all can boo them.
For
That's
2
fine.
bad weeks?
Yeah, go ahead and boo
really? Expectations surely haven't changed that quickly in Cincinnati. I know your window is open. I get it. You're a good team. But really? As bad as you've been? You should be used to this.
You?
Like,
In this economy?
in this economy? 615-737-1045. That's great. Let's go to Larry in Kentucky up first on You're Not That Guy. What's up, Larry?
What's up, Larry?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Morian.
First of all, War Eagle, congratulations on Auburn finally winning in California. But I'm going to go to the NFL for mine. I'm going to go to a game where the defensive back breaks down on the 2-yard line and trying to tackle a quarterback, and Josh Dobbs bulldozes, and not only bulldozes him, but carries him into the end zone for 2 yards. And I'd like to just say, you're not that guy.
He sure did, didn't he?
Thank you, Larry.
I mean,
You're not
boy,
that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
I was actually shocked to see Dobbs get that physical.
Yeah, I was too.
Oh, man.
Still got it
Yeah,
in the run
still
game.
Still got it.
Let's go next to Peyton in Hendersonville. 615-737-1045. What's up, Peyton?
Hey, good morning, guys.
Morning.
Morning. So I got about 4 submissions. Hey, Rocky Top. Hey, VFL, Josh Heupel, and the Vols. You're not that guy. Bert, play the Gator music. I'm out.
I have no Gator music to play.
You come up here
What
thinking
is
you
the
can
Gator
plan the show.
music?
There, you're not that guy, man. Come on, man. From humble Hendersonville, you're supposed to be better than that.
How are you going to be named Peyton but be a Florida fan?
Oh,
How's that work?
It's an interesting backstory.
That
I'm sure.
is a very interesting.
Maybe he lost a bet. That
Oh,
my dad lost a bet.
Parents lost a bet. Oh, that's a
Maybe.
very interesting assessment right there, Will. That was savvy.
Dylan in Lebanon is up next. 615-737-1045. What's up, Dylan?
What's up, Dylan?
Dylan, you there?
Me?
You there?
Hello?
Yeah.
Hey, sorry, my name's DJ. I don't know why he put.
Oh,
Dylan. Dang
okay.
it, you're not that guy.
Okay.
Where'd he go?
Trying to-
There he is. Oh, we got you again. Sorry, DJ. Go ahead.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Oh, sorry. Mine's actually Kamal Haddon, trying to hit ETN, and should be like squeaky music hitting him because he just bounced off. And then at the end, trying to throw hands with an offensive lineman. You're not that guy, pal.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Thank you, DJ.
I'm glad somebody put that one up there.
Yep. I saw somebody on Twitter yesterday said, they were quoting Billy Napier, who said after the game, yeah, Florida was playing with 12 guys, complimenting the crowd, and somebody responded and said, yeah, he was number 5 in orange.
That's so true.
Kamal Haddon is consistently the guy saying the most and doing the least.
On the lease.
And it was exactly how it was in South Carolina last year. One of my questions for Austin Price coming up in an hour is, why is Kamal Haddon still on the field? So we'll get Austin's answer on that because maybe he could explain it to me.
I even tried to brag on him about 2 weeks ago. I thought we were past that.
Not great.
No,
Not great.
low.
Jeff in Mount Juliet's next. 615-737-1045. Hey, Jeff.
Morning, Jeff.
Good morning. Y'all hear me?
Yeah,
We got
clear.
you.
Nice. I want to give you 1,000 praises for what you said about fans booing their own team, because mine not that guy this time. It was my second time that I've experienced this at the Titan Stadium. But before the opening kickoff, when our team is about to go on defense, me and all my hooligan friends are standing up there trying to get the team hyped as we can. And we had somebody sitting behind us asking us if we could sit down so they could see. You know, there's certain things that people are, jealous of the Bills and the Chiefs for having these potent offenses and all that. But what I'm really jealous for is their fan bases. And I'm hoping that the new Titan Stadium will bring us a, little bit more camaraderie and more, stuff that brings us to the game in that sense that we're going to be the 12th man on the field. And we're going to stand up for those things. And, we're going to give them our all for that.
That's fair.
Thank you, Jeff.
That's fair, Jeff.
Appreciate the call.
Ask a person to sit down. No, how about you stand up? Please.
Yeah, I always want to be careful with that because there are people that have like genuine health issues. Or, I mean, if you have trouble standing up for an entire football game, like, I get it. You still paid for your seat and you want to watch the game. But if you're able to stand and you just don't want to, then, yeah, you're not that guy. Come on.
Yeah, you can't make somebody else sit down. Like, I feel like you've been too nice about that one, Will.
Nah.
Yeah.
Chris in Nashville's next. 615-737-1045. What's up, Chris?
Hey, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing?
Hey.
Good morning.
Hey, so real quick, you're not that guy. We'll say Weight Watchers, and this is the reason why. I'm listening to commercials on the radio from you guys. I got Ramon talking about he's eating biscuits on the way to 180. Got Slay talking about hot wings, losing 20 and 30 pounds. And I'm over here thinking, okay, you can eat chicken biscuits, you can eat hot wings, and you're losing 20 and 30 pounds. Weight Watchers, you are not that guy.
Not that guy, pal. Trust me.
Come
You're
on
not that
over to
guy.
my PhD weight loss, baby. I'm telling you, you ain't got no coach. That's the problem.
Thank you, Chris.
You gotta have a coach, Chris.
Weight Watchers.
It's good advertisement
They've
for
been around for a while.
what you
Yeah.
guys were able to do.
Man, they've been around for a while, too. Weight Watchers has. Wow.
Let's go to Mahogany.
Mm.
Up next, 615-737-1045. What's going on?
Hey, team. How y'all doing this morning? I'm on the way dropping my daughter off at school, and this brings up such a hot-button issue when you're talking about fans or people attending games or criticizing and booing athletes or people out there giving their all. I had a conversation with my daughter not too long ago because she was, in this, I guess it's society where you feel entitled to give your opinion or call somebody trash or down talk an athlete doing their best. And I had to tell her, I was like, you know what? What gives a person the right to feel like they can criticize an athlete or an individual who has worked their whole life to be good or great at something? They're out there performing for themselves, for their families, not necessarily you. So for you to be the loudest one in the room bashing an individual, I just think we need to take a step back as a society and then also kind of watch what we say around our kids, because we're bringing up a generation of youth who has this critical thinking where it's criticizing, not critical.
Yeah.
And we're harming ourselves by doing that. So I just want to say, you're not that guy when you can't think of something positive for someone going out there and giving their best. Be positive. Let's encourage one another. If you can give some constructive criticism on what somebody's doing, then do that. But to trash talk and to constantly be negative, we got to let that go.
Appreciate the call.
That's wow.
I think you can be critical without making it harder on your own team and voicing those criticisms at a certain volume.
I saw a lot of that in the chat. How else are they supposed to know we aren't happy with it? Well, like you
Don't
guys
go to the
complain.
game.
You guys complain on Twitter too. And
Yeah, don't go.
If your
Don't
team
pay
is
the money.
If your team is not doing well, it's their time. It's their job to evaluate that. They
Yeah.
should be able to figure that out without you booing to let them know. You know what I mean? Like I hollered enough about it.
Look what you started, Bert.
It's one thing to be critical. It's another thing to make it harder on your own team. Like if the goal is to motivate your team to do better, I just feel like booing them as 40,000 people is probably not the best way to do that. If that's what your job as a fan is there to do, is to help your team win, you're not doing that by booing them.
As somebody who's been in those situations, it does nothing.
It's one thing if you're 0-16 too. Like the Titans were in the game in the fourth quarter, and people are booing and saying, put in Malik. That is an unserious thing to say at that point in the game. Coming up next, the Cleveland Browns last night gave us a performance to go ahead and begin Scout Meeting Wednesday a little bit early to take a look at what they were able to do on center stage last night on Monday Night Football. There is one trend Deshaun Watson had that bodes very well for the Titans this upcoming weekend. That's next on RKW.
It's Ramon Foster for United Structural Systems. And when it comes to large home repairs, a lot of the time we homeowners pretend we don't see the warning signs. We are afraid of what we're going to hear. This is especially true with waterproofing and foundation repair. It could be something big that needs to be fixed right away, or maybe a small problem now that'll become bigger later, or maybe nothing at all. Bottom line, We don't know, and we certainly don't want to be sold something we don't need. What we need is a peace of mind. And United Structural Systems is a company to give that. They have over 25,100% satisfied residential customers, and here's how they have made that happen. When USS comes out to your house, you're getting a problem solver who provides a peace of mind to the customer. That's you, the homeowner. You're not getting someone who's worried about meeting a sales quota or upselling the next big thing, but someone there to educate you and help you understand what's happening with your home. At USS, their only measure of success is how satisfied the homeowner is and not a closing ratio. Homeowners trust USS. They guarantee their best every single time. USS serving Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky, Western Kentucky, and Northern Alabama. You can reach them online at USSTN.com or call them 615-488-7855.
Tuesday morning on RKW is powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. And if liking this song is wrong, then I don't want to be right. Song absolutely slaps.
You remember when we were kids and you couldn't sing a song that a girl sang because you were too worried about it? Now catch me be like, give me a man after midnight.
Song is really, really good.
I don't know this.
Really? You don't know ABBA?
Mamma Mia.
No, I know the
Mamma
what
Mia,
ABBA
Ramon.
is, but no, I don't know ABBA.
Scuderia Ferrari. Come on.
That sounded good.
Cut his mic. Cut his mic ASAP. I'm done with this.
that a dish?
Mamma Mia. The pepperoni pizza. Okay. Coming up at 8 o'clock, Mike Vrabel had good things to say about Tajay Spears yesterday.
I hope so.
He's one spicy a meatball.
We're going to block a 4. I mean, he's going to run a 50 yards.
Such great takes
He's a
y'all
good
had
running
that
back.
last. I swear to y'all, if they cut your airtime, you just gonna double down, huh? Today,
Hey, it's a me and a Mario. Wahoo! Tighten up.
Moving on.
I hate y'all.
I just backed
Moving
my way
on.
into one of my better accents. This is great. I'm not doing a bad job.
You just discovered this. That's what's so bad.
Well, I know that's the thing. My Russian accent sounds French. Those two coincide on accident.
Do it.
No, I don't
Come,
see any scenario of that.
no. Do it now.
Can't you be vets for no one? It's the office line of like the knock knock. Who's there? Like again, it sounds French. It's terrible. I've got some good impressions and some good accents. That is not one of them.
The only good impression I leave is on the couch when I sit on Sunday watching the game all day. You didn't just in the middle of that.
Leave. Can you both of y'all be done?
All right. What are we on to next?
Kayla's like separate.
This is role reversal.
This is
I'm the
what-
one that wants to keep
This is
doing
what
the
the big
bit.
girls need to step
Keep
into
going.
now.
Okay.
Keep going.
I was having a great
Keep
time.
going.
Yeah.
I bet you were.
Moving on.
Oh my gosh! The only impression I leave is on the couch after watching games. That was solid. That was solid. What is wrong with you? You fat shame yourself, Bert, and that's appreciative.
You got to be
Deshaun-
rabbit. You got to get in front of it.
All right.
do
Well,
that,
tomorrow's scout meeting Wednesday, and we'll get more into the Browns tomorrow. But since they played last night, Deshaun Watson has completed just 3 of 11 pass attempts while under pressure in that game yesterday. He is 7 of 22 while under pressure this season. Not great.
How much time do you give a guy with that type of expectation, with no real signs of progress and leader? I don't want to
His
say leadership.
Grace
but
period is over.
You think it's over?
I think so. You had an entire offseason as the starter. Him and Kevin Stefanski look like they just introduced each other
They did.
before the game, just met in the locker room.
Yeah, I've not been in on Deshaun Watson. I mean, really, he took so much time off of football, if you think about it. And when he returned last year, okay, you give him the benefit of the doubt. All right, he hasn't played in a while. He's coming back towards the end of the season. But to start the season, you've got weapons around you. You've got a good defense. You know your coach now. You know the swing of things, right?
Yeah.
You've gotten into the swing of things. He just doesn't look good. He doesn't look good. He's not the same Deshaun Watson that we knew back when he played in Houston. Period.
The thing is, there's gonna always be this when it comes down to Deshaun. To me, people are always kind of brought up this one thing when it comes down to how good he was, whatever you want to call it. Is the moments that he was crushing it in Houston, they were down and teams were playing soft coverage. Teams were oozing to a finish to kind of let them make it out of the game healthy. So he stacked up a whole lot of yards. Does he have dynamic playmaking ability? Yes, he does. But you're also going in a situation where your coach got to figure stuff out. Just lost your right tackle 2 weeks ago. And the types of defenses that he'll be playing moving forward and the target he has on his back. And then you can't make dumb, boneheaded decisions like grabbing defender's face mask, not once, but twice in a night. Like, you are taking away from your team. And I don't know if I've ever seen a franchise quarterback make some of these in-game decisions the way that he has and got emotional the way he did last night, too.
It's crazy, real quick, to think, too, if this doesn't pan out, and this is a guaranteed contract
All the way.
for Deshaun Watson, like their quarterback woes are something that I have never seen in my life before.
Things you love to see. The Browns being the Browns.
The analytics are not kind to Deshaun Watson. His minus 26.7 completion percentage over expected while under pressure. Follow me here. I know that's a lot of qualifiers for analytics. Is the worst in the NFL. So essentially, his expected completed passes and the ones he's actually completing are so low under pressure, it's worse than anybody in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good for a Titans defense that's good at getting pressure. That's for sure. Coming up, Mike Vrabel had some interesting things to say about Tajay Spears yesterday that I think tells us that he may be used a bit differently as the season progresses. We'll tell you why coming up next.
What's going on? 8 o'clock. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Robert Walsh. We closed out week 2 with a Monday night doubleheader last night as the Steelers scored 2 defensive touchdowns to beat the Browns 26-22. But the headline's going to be Nick Chubb, who was carted off the field with a knee injury. The Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski confirmed suspicions after the game, confirming that Chubb will likely be done for the year. Another division game saw the Saints spoil number 1 overall pick Bryce Young's home debut with a 20-17 win over the Panthers. Young struggled to throw the ball effectively, passing for 153 yards, a touchdown, and a fumble. Young was also sacked 4 times in the game. Some NFL hits and injury updates across the league. Chiefs restructured quarterback Patrick Mahomes' contract, giving him $210 million over the next 4 years. Chiefs and Mahomes agreed to revisit the contract in 2026. Giants running back Saquon Barkley is scheduled to miss approximately 3 weeks with an ankle sprain. Safety for the Steelers, Minkah Fitzpatrick, left the game last night and was evaluated at a local medical facility for a chest injury. NFL Network updated us and said the Steelers are optimistic that he will be able to play after suffering a chest contusion. Lions defensive end James Houston has an ankle fracture. He's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. And Panthers linebacker Shaq Thompson suffered a serious ankle injury last night. He is reportedly out indefinitely. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second half of the show on your Tuesday morning as the show goes on. Powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is how you join the discussion with your voice, with your eyes on 104.5 The Zone TV, on YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, or Twitch. You can join the conversation right there in the F&M Bank chat. We've got Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, keeping us between the navigational beacons. My name is Will Bowling. In 20 minutes, Austin Price of VolQuest.com gives us his biggest concern from Tennessee's loss in Gainesville and answers how much Cooper Mays could solve some of Tennessee's problems. Up front, the center who is expected to play over the weekend, he did not. And Tennessee with some disciplinary news as well, on a suspension for defensive lineman Omar Norman-Lott, as well as a citation for simple possession for right tackle Gerald Mincey, who was allowed to play on special teams but not on offense. We'll see if Austin can make that make sense for us coming up next. Mike Vrabel, though, yesterday, guys, had an interesting thing to say about Tyjae Spears. And I remember early on after he was drafted, we spoke about how Tyjae is not going to just be a wide receiver for this Titans team. He's going to run between the tackles also. And what Mike Vrabel had to say yesterday backed that up again.
We're going to block for him one day, I promise you, and he's going to gain 30, 40, 50 yards. I'm not sure, but every time you think he's going to get tackled, he bursts through for another 5 or 6 yards. And so, again, he got good vision, good balance, good play strength, well executed call there. Justin helped Timmy out there in overtime that first drive. He said, hey, I want this play. I think we got him set up for it. Heard Justin talking to Timmy. Timmy led off the drive. We got a good seal block. Dre got around and, got us some great yardage there to get us across the 50 and eventually kick that field goal. So they both are going to help us, and we got to make sure that we're continuing to get both of those guys the ball.
If you were ever curious about how much Mike Vrabel loved Tyjae Spears, look at how much they used him in overtime. Yep. Tells you all you need to know.
It tells you all you need to know just how much he's used from game one. Like, I will be the first to say I was a little surprised with how much he was used. And then I'm like, well, what am I thinking? This is why they drafted him. at that spot and took him over a wide receiver because they felt like they could still utilize him in so many different ways. And this is just the beginning for this young talent, right?
It is.
I mean, Rhett Bryan told us about him back at the Senior Bowl, and we saw it for ourselves. Now he's coming to the league, hasn't really skipped a beat in terms of that difference from college to the NFL. Seems like he's kind of been out there and done it. He's only going to get better. It's going to be fun to watch this guy improve. And he's got the mindset. Like, nothing really phases Tajay Spears. Like, he's out there having fun. He knows what his job is. And for the most part, he executes.
He does execute. The thing that's very interesting is coming off of a dub, how does this look to the same fan base that kind of complained about the reps that 22 was getting? That's what I'm more interested in now, because I think when you look at week 2 and how both of them were used and how Tajay's efficiency was generated, honestly, by himself, by the way he cut back a good bit of it. As you heard Vrabel say, one day we're going to block for him and he's going to burst a big run. Like, that was fascinating to kind of hear him say that. But also watching Tajay do work on that field, you got to almost just tip your head and say, you know what? It's okay to have both of them. And that's what we were getting at last week. The situation that the Titans put themselves in against the Saints. It was a tight game, very defensive. You needed a guy that was going to be able to get you a quick pop, get you down the field quicker, get you those 7 yards that you need. He's been capable of doing that with the ball in his hand. And honestly, some of the same structure as Derek. Let's just throw that out there. That has been the conversation right there. I know he's near and dear to your heart, but it's okay to watch the guy behind him make your team look good. Tajay makes your team look good.
Yeah. And like you said, why complain about having a duo? I think, if anything, that could be so good for this team to finally have a duo that complements each other. Those are two different backs, guys. Derrick Henry and Tajay Spears, I'm not trying to compare them at all.
No.
And Derrick is a whole different beast. But those are guys that could be complementary of each other in this offense.
And I think the Titans see Tajay as the long-term replacement for Derrick, and in the short term, the perfect complement to Derrick.
Sure.
That's a good thing. I think as fans, you can't get caught up in who is moving the chains and just appreciate that you are moving the chains. That Tajay Spears is one of the biggest reasons why you're able to do that, and the multiplicity of what he gives you as a wide receiver. I said it the day he was drafted, when the complaint was, well, why don't you just use that pick on a wide receiver? Spoiler alert, he is a wide receiver. He gives them another option in the slot that I think in the meantime, while Kyle Phillips is still out, and honestly at this point, I don't think you're ever going to be able to rely on Kyle Phillips always being totally healthy. Tajay Spears fills a couple of roles for you. He's a backup running back. He's in certain schemes, you're running back one when you're in shotgun and in passing situations, and he's a slot receiver. I think it's a good thing for the Titans to have, a different look when you're at your best, and B, a reason to keep Derrick Henry as healthy as possible for the end of the season. And that, to me, is the biggest argument you can make now, is that if you actually wanted to make an argument for extending Derrick beyond this year, it's that you're not going to have to go to him as much, and perhaps he is more valuable with a better number 2 behind him.
Yeah.
I think fans are stressed about this, guys, because they think, well, I mean, now Henry's going to be gone, and it's just going to be Tajay Spears, and we're not ready for it to be Spears. I don't know if it's going to go that direction. It could. And again, you guys know my philosophy. Right. I don't talk about off-season stuff when you're in season, because we're going to have a whole off-season to talk about off-season. Sure. But to play that argument for now, you could actually say this gives you more of a reason to keep Derrick Henry around. Because at the age that he's at, he's still going to be pretty good if you just use him a little bit less.
Right.
And here's the thing, too. We saw what Derrick's role was. Tight red zone. That's the easiest play in the book right there. Give it to Derrick. You can have Thunder and Lightning on the same team together. I think it's fair to assess both of them individually and say, yes, he's good for these reasons. And again, watch again the way teams attack Derrick. And yes, Derrick had a 23-yard long run on the day. Those are the moments that get him going. But it's also set up with the fact that, look, Tajay come right behind that and there's no drop-off. That's the one thing I think a lot of people have been like missing more than anything. I was talking to somebody on the sideline this weekend, and I was just thinking to myself, watching Tajay do work, this is probably the first time that the Titans have had a 1-2 since what? CJ,
Deion Lewis and Derrick Henry.
Deion Lewis was doing what
was
Tajay
okay.
did
Originally.
Some of it.
It was okay.
Okay, it was okay. This one looks like a better outlook for what a progressive offense looks like.
It does. Progressive. Are we using that word with this offense?
I mean, is it not though? Yes, we are going to use that word.
There we go.
It's a progressive offense, and yes, it's going to take some time to get going. And yeah, there will be moments in which you question Tim Kelly, right?
Yeah,
of course.
Sure.
I think the Titans have the potential to have the best 1-2 punch at the running back position in the NFL. It's not there yet. Tajay Spears needs to continue having games like he did over the weekend. A good point as well in the F&M Bank chat. You could make the argument that the best 1-2, most recent good 1-2 punch for the Titans was Deontay Foreman and Dontrell Hilliard.
Oh, don't say that. Don't you stop playing
if we're
around.
talking about
that
1-2 punch and two guys splitting the job, it was Foreman and Hilliard.
It was.
And before that, DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry.
It was.
And
But
Derek wasn't that.
he wasn't that guy
at that
yet.
level
No.
yet.
That was the last time the Titans were in London, was when he had his last why did we draft this guy performance
And then it turned around
against the Chargers. But I do think it is something that fans need to just take a deep breath on a little bit.
Can I hit one off-season answer real quick? Just
really
real
quickly.
quick. Somebody said in F&M Bank chat they're not going to pay DH22, and guess what? I don't know many teams will after you hit over 28 years old. Okay, so let's just throw that out there real quick too. I'm done. All right, we're back to end season.
No, I'm glad you answered that.
Yeah, we're back to end season now.
And Juan correctly states in the F&M Bank chat, the best running back duo right now is Algier and Robinson at Atlanta. That's 100% accurate.
Good.
Bijan Robinson is him.
Mm-hmm.
You're not him. Nah.
We loved him
He's
in the draft.
absolutely him. Oh, yeah.
I mean, everybody did, but we
for
were
sure.
like, man, he's going to be something from the
know
get-go.
But what is he also doing at that position? He's running the ball,
Mm-hmm.
he's making explosive plays, and he's able to catch out the backfield.
He hit the hezzy on that first touchdown he had. It just stopped on a dime. That's so disrespectful.
And I know he's old, but they're both doing enough to keep Cordero Patterson off the field.
Come on, man.
Right?
Come on, man. But guess what
Tennessee
you
legend.
also do for him? You keep him ready for if they somehow makes the playoff or be in that contention later on.
Coming up next, Austin Price of VolQuest.com will join us, making sense of Tennessee's latest loss in Gainesville and the biggest thing that needs to be corrected moving forward for Josh Heupel and the Vols as they host UTSA this weekend. That's next on RKW.
It's Ramon Foster from My PhD Weight Loss. You guys know I told you yesterday, look, it's time to get this thing started. We had a caller call in a little while ago. It's like he gave somebody, you're not that guy because he don't believe that other companies' philosophies work. Well, guess what? I'm here to tell you that I know it works for me because it shows in a lot of different ways. One, my face, I could tell. I looked at pictures about a year ago. Just totally different. I almost looked like it was hard to breathe for myself. And you don't want that. If you feel that for yourself and want to make that change, and you need a game plan. That's what we talk about when we speak about My PhD Weight Loss. It's just a game plan for you, an understanding of what's going into your body and how you need for it to come out of it. Dr. Ashley Lucas and her plan that she's had for not just me but others, individually for yourself, has worked. And I'm proving that it does work for you because on average, most male clients lose between 3 to 5 pounds a week, and female clients lose between 2 to 3 pounds a week. Here's the thing: the guarantee that they're willing to give you, if you don't get within 5 pounds of your target weight by the end of your program, PhD will continue to coach you for free until you do. Yes, they will continue to coach you weekly on how you are doing and how you need to push through that threshold, okay? Simply visit myphdweightloss.com if you're thinking about taking a change and taking control of your life. Again, it's myphdweightloss.com.
Tuesday morning, talking Vols with you right here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. We're powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors as we try to make sense of what in the world happened in Gainesville again for Tennessee over the weekend. With Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson, I'm Will Bowling. Joining us on the phone lines is VolQuest's Austin Price for his weekly visit here on our Tuesday show. What's up, Austin? How are you?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you all?
Good.
Good morning.
We're all right, and certainly we did not expect to be recapping a loss when we talked with you last week before Tennessee headed down to the Swamp. Out of this one, Austin, what's your biggest concern for Tennessee at this point of the season?
Well, honestly, for me, it's just their ability to score points. I mean, you go back 2 weeks ago against Austin Peay, they scored 30. Compared to where this offense was a year ago, I mean, it's night and day from a standpoint of putting in the end zone. You go down to Florida, you outgain Florida, and I get some of that yardage in the second half was a little bit cosmetic because you're playing from behind and you're down multiple scores. But at the same time, Tennessee still outgains Florida. They only score 16, and they're moving it between the 20s just fine. But as far as punching it in, not having to settle for field goals, that type of thing, and capitalizing on drives with touchdowns, they're struggling right now. And Coach Heupel talked about yesterday, just a lot of it's self-inflicted wounds and that type of stuff. Well, you got to quit self-inflicting because, the schedule's only going to get harder from here. This week, UTSA, a team that's capable, but, a team you should beat. And then South Carolina, they've kind of had the same problem as Tennessee, a lot of yards, very few points. But defensively, they get after it, especially with that front seven and with Tennessee's offensive line not playing as good as it could, that's a problem.
In Austin, it's incredible. In our chat right now doing the show, somebody comments and says, Joe Milton is obviously the biggest concern. And it feels like there are a long list of things before the quarterback when you talk about the problems with Tennessee in the Swamp in this season and starting up front of the offensive line where they're giving up sacks against four-man pressures with 6 blocking back there for Joe Milton. Where is Joe's play for you among the list of things that worry you about this Tennessee team?
It's a bit of a worry. It's not the main worry.
Right.
And, again, he's the quarterback of the team that scored 16, that scored 30 against Austin Peay. You have to kind of get things fixed. Everybody's going to call for the quarterback change. That's natural. People want the 5-star Nico. That's not happening right now. So people can just keep chanting his name. They're not putting Nico in. Now, you lose to South Carolina at home, you drop another 1 or 2, then, yeah, I think there's a possibility for change. But right now, Joe Milton's not the biggest problem. He has improved. I don't care what anybody says. You look at the first 3, or the passes 2, 3, and 4 on the night, not the first one, but the swing pass to Jalen Wright, the deep ball with touch to Squirrel White when he got behind the secondary, and then the fade to Ramel Keaton. These are all throws that Joe, wasn't making 2 years ago. And, they've continued to get better. He's continued to improve. But, again, it's total points. That's what worries me. He's got to figure out how to finish drives. He's got to learn to create when things break down because this offensive line's not perfect. And so he's going to have to improvise at times. And, when you talk about, the commentators on the game are pointing out you've never thrown a touchdown on the move, that's a bit of a concern. You have to, I guess, you have to be able to improvise. And right now, Joe's not doing that. We'll see if he can do it going forward. But he obviously a concern because, they're not scoring points and he's the leader of the offense. But there's other problems to fix as well.
I think one of the main conversations that Heupel had when he initially got hired was we're going to run the ball. We did not see that at all this weekend against a 5-man defensive front when you look at what Florida did. What adjustments do you make, or do you just simply chalk that up? They just got whipped.
They did just get whipped. And outside of Cooper coming back and Mincy being, available for offensive plays, I don't know what else you can do. They kept max protecting a few times. Florida was rushing 3 against 7 and still, creating a problem. And that's not good. And so Florida's defensive line is good, but it's not the best you're going to see going forward. And so you really need to kind of figure some things out. But, again, I think that boils down to Cooper getting back Mincy being available for offensive plays, and seeing where you can go from there. But that's something they're going to have to really attack in the transfer portal is the offensive line, because the running game is very important to Heupel's offense. And, they didn't, they kind of went away from it and got a little pass happy in the first half. And then the second half, they made a real effort to try to run the football, Ramon. But not a whole lot was there. A little bit, but not a whole lot. And, they've got to be able to run the ball going forward against quality SEC opponents.
One thing that was very I guess frustrating to see too was the way the plays were being called somewhat. And I know when it's good and nobody complains, but the lack of, I'd say, adjustments of not just throwing it to the sidelines and letting the wide receivers get busy, right? Because they got blown up a lot in that game. But where was the adjustments to throwing the ball over the middle of that defense? Is that something that's been discussed as far as the way they should have or could have attacked Florida down the middle of the defense?
Yeah, that's something that, they don't do. I mean, it's there, but like they still love to throw to the sideline a lot. They love to get those wide splits and use Joe's big arm to, his advantage. But at the same time, like I agree, they've got to learn to work the middle of the field more. They didn't do that a super ton last year. They did some, but you've got to continue to get your playmakers involved, including Brew McCoy. I know he led you in receiving 5 catches for 94 yards, but, you really need him to be more involved going forward.
Austin Price joining us now. And Austin, I also feel like, just the struggle in the red zone continues. What exactly do they need to do better down there? And can that be fixed like soon?
That goes back to, eliminating the self-inflicted wounds. And, can you do that? Can you, quit false starting, and playing behind the chains? Can you quit, getting, 2 weeks ago was getting called for holding penalties down the edge with the receivers. These are all things that they have to do better. Joe's got to throw the ball better, got to be more accurate with the football. They're happy with where his eyes are with the decisions he's making on, where to go with it, but it still becomes, becoming more accurate, the receivers catching the ball more. Again, 20 of 34 for 287, 2 touchdowns on a pick, those aren't terrible numbers. The problem is you only scored 16 for the game, and you've got to find ways to finish drives. Charles Campbell's been a steady rock the last couple of games as a field goal kicker, but, you can't rely on him a lot. You need to, punch these things in for scores, for touchdowns. Again, when they play South Carolina, these are 2 teams that have moved the ball a ton. Rattler's thrown it all over the place. They scored 14 against Georgia, and they scored less than 20 against North Carolina. That's not cutting it either. So, the rubber's going to meet the road next week, but Tennessee's really got to start to cure some things this week. They need to get some mojo going. It's kind of like when Austin Powers came back, he was frozen and he didn't have his mojo. They need the mojo. Somebody's got to find the mojo for Josh Heupel in the offense.
Yeah, absolutely. They also need to shore up, their tackles, which is something that looked sloppy in that Florida game. And going against Austin, this UTSA offense, specifically, what do they maybe do different with their quarterback play? I know it's not a Power 5 team, but they've had some success in that offense.
Well, no, they have. And, you go back to their game last week, a game they lost, but, you could see that they were starting to kind of find some rhythm as that game went along. And, they're trying to figure some things out. Their quarterback's been out. It's important for Tennessee to tackle well this week, because you don't need the armless shoulder, whatever that was, attempt by Kamal Hadden that really allowed Florida to get the momentum back after Tennessee went right down the field and scored. If he tackles Etienne, it's 15-yard gain, you maybe get off the field there. Instead, 70 yards to the house, and the swamp's alive, and it just changed the whole dynamics of the football game at that point in time. And so, Tennessee's got to learn to tackle well. UTSA, again, is plenty capable of beating you offensively. They're really solid, and this is something that Tennessee's going to have to, fix. But I think it all boils down to, some of the veterans taking the control, but also Tennessee's willingness to play some of these younger players. For me, if Ricky Gibson was good enough to get 10 snaps in the swamp, he needs 20 to 25 this week against UTSA. I think I'm not saying you do wholesale youth movement. That would be dumb. Mm-hmm. But I think you have to start working in some of these guys that you think are close, more and more. Arion Carter is being forced to play more because Keenan Peely's out. David Hobbs has got to play more, so on and so forth. And I think that's very, very important, especially even on offense, at tight end with a guy like Ethan Davis. You got to work him in.
Austin Price, VolQuest.com with us. And Austin, you took my next question because I can't understand why Kamal Hadden is continuing to be trotted out there, and just the effort on the ETN touchdown run left a lot to be desired. And, of course, he's always the first guy to fight after the game. Meanwhile, maybe you want to see a little bit more of that between the whistles, right? When do we see some of these young defensive backs starting to take over? You mentioned Ricky Gibson and Christian Conyer. We've talked a lot about the added depth that Tennessee has in the secondary. When do you think we get to see it?
The coaches are have a tendency to go with the older guys, and that's not just at Tennessee. Like everybody, this is what you see. So you think it's only at Tennessee, but it's not. I mean, you look at Ohio State. Their 3 running backs are all like seniors. And so like their younger running backs aren't getting as much run as the older guys do. And so at Alabama, what are they doing? They're going with the veteran quarterback. They're not going with the young guys. And so, when will you see them? I think you'll see them sprinkled in a little bit more. But as far as a full cell change, I don't think you see that. I think if you're Tennessee, you'd love to get the Nico Slaughter back. He's got a little bit of a toe. We'll see if he can go this week. I think what Gabe Judy-Lally did last week, I thought was really, really good. And I think if you can get Slaughter back, put Gabe on the other side, to me, those can be your 2 corners. And I thought that would be Tennessee's 2 corners all along, even going back to the wintertime. But, Kamal Hadden kind of hung around and got the start. But you can't tackle the way he tried to tackle Saturday. That again, I thought determined the outcome. Probably not, but at the same time, it gave the Swamp some life when Tennessee had the perfect start to the football game.
Austin, the last time Tennessee won a road game outside of the state of Tennessee, it was Baton Rouge last year. And again, the operation issues, the false starts, were a big concern for them on Saturday in the Swamp. How much difference does Cooper Mays make in clearing some of that up? But at the same time, how big of a concern is this? Because, Austin, even with Hendon Hooker and Cooper Mays and veterans last year, these false starts and operation issues were major problems on the road then, too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a concern. And, and I don't know. I mean, unfortunately for Tennessee, they've got 4 road games. The first one was obviously last weekend. The next one's not for another month, and it's your second hardest road game, right? I mean, Swamp, Alabama, and then the other 2 are Kentucky, Missouri, and that's not, to discredit them, but those atmospheres aren't what the Swamp and Tuscaloosa are. So your next attempt is going to be your next big road atmosphere. And it's a month from now. I don't know if that's something where you just, even when you're at home, you work on it during practice, even though you got home games the next month. I don't know what it is. I think that you've got to figure some things out, but the communication was poor. Ramon knows from playing in the NFL, from playing in college, and a lot of these atmospheres are just ridiculous, but that's where, the practice and the trust in the guy beside of you and the ability to communicate comes in so pivotal. And right now, Tennessee doesn't seem like that they're handling it very well. They did not handle it very well at Georgia last year. Now, that place was ridiculously loud, and they didn't handle it well Saturday.
The lack of use for Dylan Sampson as of late, what do you kind of contributed to? I know we don't get injury reports when it boils down to college players, but what has it been?
Probably should get injury reports when it boils down to college players.
Amen.
But that's neither here nor there. I think it was kind of time and place in the game Saturday. You go back, Tennessee didn't have a whole lot of, they didn't have a lot of possessions in the first half. And then the second half, it was just, again, time and place. I think a lot of people fall in love with D. Samp because, he's got 4 touchdowns in the Virginia game on like 12 yards. I mean, to me, he's still like 2/3. Jalen Wright's your bell cow. His carries were going to go up last weekend, and Jabari Small just took the rest. And so kind of is what it is. That's up to Jerry Mack, the running back rotation. And for whatever reason, he did not, feel like that, Dylan Sampson needed to be in the game last week. And so we'll see if that changes going forward. Obviously, everybody's seen the Instagram Cage Cheetah post or whatever. As kids just expressing themselves. I think, Dylan will be fine. But at the same time, I think Tennessee's got to continue to push Jalen Wright. I think he's far and away your best back.
Yeah. Also, is this as a team, and considering you don't have a top 10 right tackle in your lineup or a Heisman candidate quarterback, I think every team that's not one of those top tier, teams that recruit heavy and can pick and choose who they, who they want on signing day, is that the reset that they need for the Vols losing to Florida the way they did before it gets real sticky in this next month?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think that, you'd love to thought that the Austin Peay game would have been a wake-up call for them, and there's all that talk of the players meeting and all that. But at the same time, I think that the loss, you better reset. You better have a hard reset, and that comes from the coaches right down to the players, because you really can't afford any more hiccups. It's not to say you're not going to lose more games. The likelihood is they are going to. But like next week is key. Like South Carolina is a coin flip game. You need that type of game. You got to win the Texas A&M game at home. You have them at home, and if you can do that, and you're like, again, we're chalking up this weekend as a win, right? But it's not a given. You're sitting there at 5-1 going to Tuscaloosa, and I think most people will be happy with that. Yeah. The problem is you were almost a touchdown favorite at Florida. Mm-hmm. A place you've not won in 20 years. Tennessee fans kind of got their hopes up. They've heard all this talk about how bad Florida is, and Florida will likely lose 4 or 5 games the rest of the way. But you didn't win. Deja vu. Yeah. I watched that same movie over and over again, and so it's one of those things where you hope that it does, but I think you won't know until you play South Carolina, and then you get the bye week, and then you play Texas A&M.
Man, Austin, don't take me down to those deep shadows, man.
Well, I'll tell you what, Austin Peay didn't give Tennessee what it needed, but Austin Price always gives us what we need here on RKW. Tuesdays at 8:20 at Austin Priceless, where you can follow him on Twitter. Austin, we appreciate it as always.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Austin.
Thank you.
All right, there's Austin Price with us. A very fair analysis of what happened over the weekend.
Yeah, I thought that was a good breakdown.
It was good. Again, if you're asking me how I summarize, they got punched in the mouth. Mm-hmm. And they could not stop the nosebleed whatsoever on either side of the ball.
Coming up.
Bad.
Yeah.
No,
go ahead.
That's it.
Okay. Coming up, Patrick Mahomes has a restructured contract. Maybe not the biggest bargain in sports anymore. Coming up next. RKW is powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors right here on 104.5 The Zone. 615-737-1045 is our number. And we remind you as well that you can join 104.5 The Zone's 3HL this Thursday at Buffalo Wild Wings in Clarksville for our third Titans football feast of the season. You can have your chance at Titans tickets and giveaways each hour thanks to Miller Lite and Buffalo Wild Wings. See the full schedule for 3HL at B-Dubs by visiting 1045thezone.com/TFF. And looking forward to a great wash away toast from our guy Ron Slate, who is here, by the way, already.
Look at that.
Early. Yeah, will join us on the show at 9:20.
Yeah.
I have a feeling Slay is ready to go out of the blocks today.
Always
is. I
Got
should take
his
the surprise
water,
out of my
he's ready to go, hydrated.
Brought me a black coffee and some breakfast this
Look
morning.
at that.
What a brother.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Sometimes it's
So
good to know
nice.
Ron Slate. That's all.
That's Slay Dash.
Slate that.
So DoorDash. Coming up at 9 o'clock, some college football news as Mel Tucker is let go. And the TV numbers from Colorado State are amazing.
Yeah, they are.
We'll get to that coming up here in 10 minutes. But first, guys, Patrick Mahomes has a restructured contract that pays him $210.6 million between 2023 and 2026. That is the most in history over a 4-year span. An agreement that could reach $218.1 million with escalators by the end of 2026. The sides agreed to revisit the deal again after the 2026 season, which effectively turns an 8-year deal to a 3-year deal at this point.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I was
Yeah.
expecting it.
Oh, yeah.
I
Right?
mean, it's too many guys jumping in front of Patrick Mahomes when he just recently won a Super Bowl. I mean, that 10-year deal was a lot of grace given into the readjustment of those numbers is what it was, for sure.
Yeah, this is a guy who's already made 120 mil, right?
Yeah.
Which, what though you look at in terms of his resume now in 6 seasons, because really you can't count the first season, his rookie season. I think he came in game week 17, but he has done more than I think anybody anticipated when he first entered the league.
Yeah.
It was
definitely.
like, who did you draft? Who are you replacing
That was my
Alex
question.
Smith with?
Yeah.
And then he goes out there in 6 years, does what he does. That's incredible.
I remember getting him in week 2 when he first was a starter. And I was just like, who the hell is a Patrick Mahomes? I remember saying that. I was like, I knew we had a good, we're good. We'll be all right.
Sure.
Boy, was I wrong. He's had the league in the chokehold ever since, man.
Yeah.
Before this deal, he was the 8th highest paid quarterback in the league. Now he will average $52.6 million over the next 4 years, putting him more in line with Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow. That to me was all this was about, is I would imagine Patrick's representatives were saying, let's wait till this group of QBs gets a deal done and then we'll talk.
Yeah.
And what are we, like 2 months removed from Patrick saying the thing he did about like, well, I'm more of a team guy. I want to make sure my guys get taken care of. Then he realized he doesn't have any guys other than Kelsey on offense with him.
Exactly.
True.
Isn't this the most amount of money paid out over 4 years also?
Yeah, I said that.
Oh, you said that too? And this is the thing, too. I'm all for him saying what he's, the political stuff he's supposed to say as far as keeping it PC, not political stuff. Keeping it PC as far as like, yeah, I'm a team guy. And him getting paid, too, because how much cake do you think the Hunt family has made from Patrick Mahomes' likeness? I mean, we're speaking about a fraction of what he's getting to what they're actually making, man. They're hot still. That's why they're still teetering on my top 7, because eventually when you got a guy like him, you will yourself into wins. No pun intended, Bowling.
Oh,
thank you.
Look at that. Bad joke early.
Our Twitter poll this morning, at Ramon Kayla Will, says, is there ever a reason to boo your own team? Based off of Robert Walsh's You're Not That Guy earlier in the show. 72% say yes. I figured on Twitter we would be in the minority here.
Yeah, I figured that.
Twitter is a place where people give their opinions, whether we ask for them or not, which is essentially what booing is.
We did
Giving
ask
your
for
opinion
it.
when it's not necessarily asked for. But this time, yes, we did ask for the people's opinion.
And they're entitled to it.
I think it's warranted sometimes. The booing, and somebody who's been in that seat before, on the field, getting booed, coming off, and you just know for a fact this is a shaky start. This isn't a bad game yet. Just give it time. It does nothing for the guys. You hear it.
No.
Unless you're getting completely obliterated out there, the booze is just a part of your emotional strings at that point. You know what I'm saying? And it does nothing for the players. Like, I know what you're thinking. Like, and Bert was right. You can't care about it more than I do. And I'll say that with a lot of conviction. When it's in those moments where you're having a bad season, you feel it. Or bad games, you know, as a player, when you having those bad moments, you can't hate it more than I do. I know when we've sucked before. I know when it's bad play by myself personally or by the entire team or one side of the ball. You know that, and you know what? You're going to have to hear it on Monday morning in the coaches meeting too. I will say that definitively. You can't tell me you've hurt more than I do when it comes down to how you feel about the game.
Yeah.
It's too much that goes into it.
And I'll say there's certain circumstances maybe where it allows for that. Very rare, I feel like. But if you're just frustrated with your team in general and the direction of it, it's almost like just don't pay the money to go then. And I'll boo all I want at home. My neighbors will be like, what is she doing? Oh, I'm just booing my team because I cannot stand it right now. But yeah, just don't waste your money on a ticket, I guess, to go even see them if you're not happy with the direction of it at that point.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could say.
Make that money, but you can't tell a fan how to be a fan.
No, that's what I'm saying. They can do what they want. Yeah.
They can. I think we're both saying the same thing for sure.
615-737-1045, the number. Coming up, Adam Rittenberg of ESPN.com gives the opening candidates to replace Mel Tucker, who was officially let go at Michigan State last night, plus the television numbers that you will need to hear to believe from Colorado and Colorado State, a game that ended at 1 a.m. Did some major numbers. That's next on RKW.
Hey, what the heck's going on? Good morning. 9 o'clock from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. We closed out the week 2 of the NFL slate with a Monday night doubleheader where the Steelers scored 2 defensive touchdowns to take down the Browns 26-22. But the injury to Nick Chubb is going to be the headline. It was carted off the field with a knee injury. Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski confirmed suspicions after the game, affirming that Chubb will likely be done for the year. Another division game saw the Saints spoil number 1 overall pick Bryce Young's home debut with a 2017 win over the Panthers. Young struggled to throw the ball effectively, passing for 153 yards, a touchdown, and a fumble. Young was also sacked 4 times. Some NFL hits and injuries from over the weekend, and for the updates, Chief restructured quarterback Patrick Mahomes' contract, giving him $210 million over the next 4 seasons. Chiefs and Mahomes agreed to revisit the contract in 2026. Giants running back Saquon Barkley is going to miss approximately 3 weeks with an ankle sprain. Last night, Steelers safety Minkah Fitzpatrick left the game with a chest injury that he was evaluated at a local hospital. He has been released, and the Steelers are optimistic that he will recover from his chest contusion. And also last night, Panthers linebacker Shaq Thompson suffered a serious ankle injury, and he is out indefinitely. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Tuesday morning, 4th and final hour of the show. It is RKW, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. We've got Ron Slade coming up in 20 minutes. He talked up Tennessee, Florida, as he should. Now it might be time for Slade to talk us down a little bit after another loss in Gainesville. 615-737-1045 is our number. We've got Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson. Robert Walsh keeping us on track on the air. I'm Will Boulding. We've got favorites to replace Mel Tucker via Adam Rittenberg of ESPN.com. Tucker officially let go yesterday. Let's run through these first 6 coaches and who you think makes sense. Number 1 they list is Michigan State alumnus Pat Shurmur, former Browns and Giants coach.
I know that name.
His son played for Vandy.
Did he?
He did.
Quarterback.
He's from here or lived here or just came here to go to school?
Just came here to go to school.
All right, that's fair. All right.
Duke's Mike Elko, ACC
Okay.
Coach of the Year last year.
Whew.
That's going to be hard to keep him there.
Yeah.
I feel like he could wait for a better opening than that.
Yeah, that's fair, but it's a step up. Going to a bigger conference, and what kind of restrictions do you have as far as coaching at Duke? If you have a guy that is that good and is an offensive guy, I'm not sure if he's an offensive guy or not, Will, that's where you start to wonder and worry because how
Defensive guy.
soon before they come and take him away?
And-
Former Texas A&M defensive coordinator.
Okay. And just, really a little more resource. Like that's an academic school, football, and they're doing great. But Michigan State, definitely more resources there.
Yeah, definitely.
Number 3, they have Toledo's Jason Candle, 2-time MAC champion.
That'd be lit.
If you wanted to stay,
Toledo.
if you
Wow.
wanted to stay in the Midwest.
Stay in the Midwest. Wow, that made you crack.
No. What made me crack was Kayla saying that would be lit.
For him,
Candle.
Not.
Thank you.
I didn't
you
even
guys
get it.
do all
I
that
wasn't
all the time
computing.
on this show.
I wasn't even computing
I
there.
thought that was pretty good.
I didn't
I
expect
thought
you
that
to,
was pretty
Kayla.
good.
I didn't expect you to.
I didn't think that
that's-
joke could hold a candle to the ones I usually have. but.
I hate y'all.
Number 4, Oregon State's Jonathan Smith.
The only reason I'll bounce back on this one, Will, Jonathan Smith is a Oregon State alum.
Yep.
And I think he's doing a freaking phenomenal job. And you're right, they don't have a conference, but I think they're going to be headed in the right direction here soon. I think Jonathan Smith will probably stay at Oregon State.
Okay. Number 5 on here, they have Kansas coach Lance Leipold.
Okay.
Leipold, 59 years old.
Oh.
So
It's not that old.
59 years
No,
young.
I was just say don't age him like that,
I
Kelly.
know,
You
but-
went,
I'm sorry. No, I didn't mean to.
when you're talking about an up-and-comer in the head coaching profession, I don't know.
I wasn't trying to age.
You
shame.
did. Oh, it's okay, Kayla. Go ahead.
No,
man.
I'm old, so I can't do that.
No, you're not old. You're as old as you feel, man. I continuously say that. We all 21 in this room.
Leipold from Wisconsin, who won 6 national titles in Division III with Wisconsin Whitewater.
Okay.
I think he'd be a great pick. I think Leipold is
Yeah.
underrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Kansas State coach Chris Kleiman, former North Dakota State FCS national championship coach, 55 years old. But Kansas State, solid.
Yeah.
Even though they lost at a 61-yarder over the weekend and lost Kayla and I one of our bets.
Yeah, they did.
Other coaches worth considering on this list, PJ Fleck, Washington State coach Jake Dickert
Nope,
on
not
the
doing
list.
that. You are not taking our man. Step back.
Colorado OC Sean Lewis, Matt Campbell. Has there been a bigger fall from grace from up-and-coming name to no longer mentioned than Matt Campbell?
Man.
That's right.
We were talking about him as the next guy, and he is 12-16 since Iowa State finished number 9 in the country in 2020.
Dang. And you're right, Will. He was a hot commodity.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, he was.
That's
Oh,
right.
man.
Charles Huff, Marshall head coach in there as well. I think that'd be a great pick.
Mm-hmm.
He's been solid at Marshall, beat Notre Dame last year in South Bend. So interesting one there. But I think that's a very interesting one to follow. It does also feel like, though, that this could be a scenario where you have so many difficult conversations you got to have, and your system and your culture is so tarnished that you might just stick with the interim and Harlan Barnett,
Because
who's going to have the rest of the season to try out for it.
thing is, they did have some good momentum. I feel like they had a top end recruiting class that was there. They're set up to compete. They have competed with what they had in front of them. It just sucks because Mel Tucker, you dropped the bag.
He's that you're not that guy for the year.
Well, there's another name at the bottom of this list that's very intriguing.
Uh-oh.
Mark Stoops.
Oh, baby.
Would Mark Stoops be interested in Michigan State, Kentucky's head coach?
Kentucky's
Yeah.
head coach, yeah.
Not Bob, but Mark.
Mark has just been the guy that everyone knows he's waiting for the Iowa job to open, waiting for Kirk Ferentz to retire. Former Iowa player. Started his career as a coach at his alma mater at Iowa, too. He's 56 years old. Mark Stoops, to me, is the coach when Ferentz retires there. But that being said, I don't know. The amount of fights you got to have with Calipari and with your athletic department, with the fans to get them to care about football, and you just had your best quarterback ever, and you still couldn't really get over the hump, and you lost in the Music City Bowl with Will Levis. I think Mark Stoops held firm last time. I don't know if he does next time somebody in Power 5 comes calling.
Isn't he getting himself in the same situation, though?
What do you mean?
Michigan State and Kentucky is essentially the same situation. They're both
I
stuck
don't know about that.
behind a logjam of people trying to compete in both conferences. Think about where Kentucky could or should be. Think about what Michigan State is, too. And they are a strong basketball program also.
It's not that as much as it is Michigan State's made the playoff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kentucky hasn't made the New Year's Six.
Ooh.
Your ceiling to win at Michigan State is much higher than it is at Kentucky in football, in my opinion.
I look at him and say he can be a god at Kentucky if he stay GAWD. Okay, if he continues to do what he's doing right now, who's going to say, oh, we're tired of winning 7-8 games a year in Kentucky and Lexington? It ain't going to be many people that say that if he's waiting on the Iowa job.
In the F&M Bank chat, Williams says, you don't know crap. He loves Kentucky. He's staying. Yes, because no coach has ever said they love a place and then immediately leave it 1 year later.
Brian,
That's never happened before.
What's the last name on this? 2 first names. Brian, God, he went to that place in Louisiana.
Rhymes with smelly.
Smelly.
I heard he had a good accent.
It was to be with his family.
Yeah, there it is.
There it is.
William adds, Will would love Mark Stoops to leave. Yes, because I'm really scared about what Kentucky could do to Tennessee. That was evident by the 44-6 win over Kentucky last year in Knoxville. I'm shaking. I'm literally horrified. What are you? Weird. 615-737-1045, our number. Colorado and Colorado State had a wild amount of people watch this football game.
I was one
For
of them.
that
A
late?
game that ended at 1 a.m. Central. This is ESPN's most watched late primetime game on record. ESPN/ABC's fourth best regular season game in terms of television viewership in 6 years, excluding conference championships.
Dang.
ESPN's most streamed regular season college football game of all time. And this thing peaked at 11.1 million viewers. 9.3 million people watched Colorado play Colorado State. For the people that think Colorado is being hated at a level that we've never seen before, I would argue they're being loved at a level we've never seen before.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I've never seen anything like this.
Not this fast, not this quick, not this soon.
Right.
I hadn't, I know all those are saying the same exact thing, but I hadn't seen it do this well this fast. Like a team usually has a real strong roadblock in the way on their way to doing these types of things. Like, oh, okay, that's cute. But it's not only entertaining to watch, it's a great show. Every week that they've had has been full of fireworks, from the TCU game to the Nebraska game, the trash talk that happened, from last week being the exact same thing where they were supposed to lose that game. Then they go into double overtimes. Say what you want to about it. It is entertaining. Shador has kind of shown that he can compete at that D1 level. He's making the throws. Does he have his hiccups? Yes, he does. But to overcome those situations that he has in the last 3 weeks since his regular season has started, good. Now, again, there's also going to be, well, they hadn't played anybody. Well, they get that opportunity coming up real soon.
And that's not their fault.
It's not their fault.
That's not their fault. I mean, they haven't played anybody. If that's what your argument is, like, they are going to play somebody. It's going to be Oregon this weekend, and yeah, we'll see what happens. But it's not their fault that they haven't played anybody. They've gone out there and gotten the dubs, and in the end, that's all that matters. And look, it's crazy for me to think, and maddening for me to think, that you've got a guy like Deion Sanders now who has lifted the program to get this much excitement. They have not had that in years in terms of Colorado football.
They've ever had it like this.
And they've had some good programs in the late times,
90s,
right? In the 90s and stuff. But that's why it's so hard for me to accept that the Pac-12 crumbled before they even knew what they had in the future. Because you've got something like this. You've got the rebirth of you. Like, it makes me want to get in that trash can right now and vomit all my breakfast up.
Oh.
That's what it sucks.
Don't do that.
But look at what they're doing right now, and he's a big part of it because of the energy and success he's brought right away to Colorado. Now they got to sustain it, but
yeah, the Pac-12 could have been jumping.
Yeah.
Had they taken the proper steps. I will agree with you on that one. And I'll be honest with you all. I had them not making a bowl game just because there's so much stacked up against them with all the transfer kids and understanding what it was to translate from one level of ball to the next. And Deion's proven myself and everybody else wrong with the 3-0 start right now.
Coming up next, Ron Slay joins us. His perspective on Tennessee's loss in the Swamp, where the Vols have to move forward. Loved what he was able to say about this one yesterday on 3HL. We'll continue to get the honest reaction from Tennessee's horrible weekend in the Swamp. Coming up next with 3HL's Ron Slay.
It's football season. It's time to switch to Zen Sports, the fastest growing sports book in Tennessee, changing the betting bonus game with their cash rewards program. When you sign up for Zen Sports with a referral code, earn a welcome bonus that gives you 5% cash back of your total betting volume for your first 15 days of betting. 5%. Think about that for a second. That's insane. Okay, Zen Sports also offers incredibly easy to navigate mobile app also. So you can find the bets you want to make on the games you want to bet on, and they guarantee you won't find an easier way to build your parlays. What are you waiting for? Stop wasting time and money on other sportsbook when you could be earning real cash rewards with Zen Sports. Download today on the App Store or at zensports.com. Your wallet will thank you later. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 years or older and present in Tennessee to bet.
RKW is powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors here on 104.5 The Zone as we roll right along in hour 4. And welcome in Ron Slay. Tuesdays at 9:20.
Here we go.
What's up, Slay? How are you?
What up, though? What's happening?
I'm told by you in the F&M Bank chat earlier that you could not wait to give your "You're Not That Guy."
That was in text.
Oh, you texted me that. I can't remember what you texted me or what you put in the F&M Bank chat. Anyway, what matters is that you've got a "You're Not That Guy" this
I
morning.
do, man. And see, first of all, Bert did a phenomenal job. That's where I was going. I was going towards the fans of the. It's just amazing, especially with Titans and Vols fans. You know what I mean? And I ain't gonna harp on it just because Bert hit it hard. Feel me? Oh boy. You know what I mean? So I
lawyer.
My lawyer, yeah, Councilman Bert. So this is the thing, man. Like the extreme of after 1 week, after one game, the sky falling. Like that is so difficult to deal with. After 4 games, okay, let's reassess things. Let's have a conversation. 6 games, okay. After one game, like it is amazing. And like being able to play the sport, like I would listen to fans and things like that, but you'd be able to block it out. So you could only get what kind of like reporters would give you, a journalist, like the questions, like where's the questions coming from? And they be like, man, this is the kind of things the fans asking. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, dude, do they really think like that? Now, so being on this side of it, it's like, as a player, I would be like, dog, like, why do you come? Like, why are you actually coming to these games, man? If you're not gonna ride with me, like, I can promise you, we're not going undefeated.
Right.
That's a fact. And I'm not gonna play the perfect game. You know what I'm saying? But I promise you, I want to feed my family. I want to feed me. I'm going to go out there and go hard. You know what I'm saying? It might not be my day. Everybody gets got part of it. But it's just strange for that, man. So I like what Bert hit on. But "You're Not That Guy" is for everybody that supports HBCUs. Mm-hmm. I was watching this weekend the Colorado State. I love that atmosphere. Listen to me, man. As a former player, diving in the media lane, man, you couldn't ask for nothing better than what Deion is doing. Mm-hmm. Like, he's opening it up for us. Like, Pat McAfee, he's you know what I mean? Yeah. He's winning from it. Like, the list goes on and on. There's so many podcasts that's winning from it and things of that nature. But to see the support right there, Colorado, and this is what jarred me. I saw someone make a post and said, man, I'm really, really proud of Deion. And he's from Nashville. Mm-hmm. Proud of Deion, man. I went up there and saw him, man, and what I like more so than anything, he's really being a father. Not only to his kids, but to the other kids on his team. Like, man, they say, man, that's one of the hardest things for us to do, being a black man in this climate and being a father, being there, being present, this, that, and the other, and then being able to coach and do all that. So I said, dang, I've never heard you come out with that kind of support for Eddie George. Oh. He right here in your backyard. Like that. See, it's stuff like that like it gave me chills. Like, it irks me, dog. Like, so you running to Colorado to support, but you got Eddie George, his kids on his team too.
Eric's a heck of a player.
You know what I'm like? What we doing? So that's why when all of the support came out, hey man, everybody gotta go to HBCUs. Yep. You gotta do this. You gotta go. Don't do the Power Fives. That's why I was sitting there like, I wonder how long this gonna last. Ooh. You know what I'm saying? So for everybody that's out there running to go support Deion and love it, I love it. But you got somebody right there at TSU doing the exact same thing too. Just because the way he does it is different and it's not as rah-rah. Emmitt Smith was in Colorado. You know where he was 2 days before that? Right here at TSU.
Yep.
Right. He just didn't broadcast it like. So you're not that guy. If you got to go up there and you're walking on two sides of the street, man, instead of like picking a side, choosing and roll with it. That's my thing. I'm with you till you out of here. You know what I'm saying? That's where but I can still support here too. But my mainstay is right here. I got a problem with that.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
We talked about that on the back porch
really
for a
good
minute,
point.
too, when we looked at when TSU came out of Nissan stadiums, as far as them coming onto the field.
Yeah.
You was just like, look at that crowd.
Yeah.
He was a little disappointed.
I got
You're
Keith
TSU,
Bullock on the
baby.
call for that.
Dude.
Yeah, that was what Keith was on the call.
Bully was on there,
Yeah,
man.
crushing it.
I grew up here, man. I grew up in that TSU. I saw when it was thriving. Like, our pops played for it when
He did.
the John A. Merritt class, he played for Big John. You know what I'm saying? When Alabama was coming up here to find out, get the blueprint, Bear Bryant was trying to get the blueprint of how to do this thing, he was coming to John Merritt.
Yeah.
Like, it's tradition and history right there. So if it's something to support, go support that. If you not, like, don't. But don't be on the back end when it's something that's put in the mainstream and it's highlighted, then be, hey, wait a minute, yeah, we need to do this, but you ain't been doing this.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't dying.
And Slay, too, as you know, even on a smaller scale, there's a lot of Metro Nashville high school football programs that are still undefeated right now that deserve support in a similar way, right?
Without question, man.
And those guys, many of them who will play at HBCUs when they're in college, and many of those guys play at Tennessee State and will go to Jackson State and things like that. I mean, you want to really support grassroots community efforts of, creating more of a conversation, having more diversity in the coaching profession. Starts in high school, too.
It does.
And we've got East Nashville FRA as our zone game of the week this week.
That's my boy, little Damian Harris.
Well,
That's my
I got to talk to you about that later. But
my guy. Little Precious.
But for
baby,
real,
go
I
get
think,
him.
too, I thought that was cool. And, people were saying it last week. Jeffrey Simmons sent out that tweet of like, hey, what high school football game should I go to? Start at a Metro Nashville program.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to be a role model to kids who are in the same shoes as similar to what, and Jeff is outspoken about that.
Oh, yeah.
His upbringing in Mississippi and things like that. I mean, no, I think it's a good point, Slade.
I want to say this too about Big Jeff on that point too. Jeff is out in this city.
Hey, well, I was just going to say
Absolutely.
You mind if I take this and you double back?
Get that.
Jeff is out in this city.
It's awesome.
And I'll say this by himself.
Yeah.
With his lady.
Come on, Dree.
And he is doing the things you're supposed to do when you're invested in this community.
And I wasn't trying to criticize him, of course.
No. What I'm saying is this. Y'all see Jeff out doing his thing that's important locally? Support Jeff doing those things.
100%.
Let's not have them side eyes, and let's not be in those positions because Jeff's moving around this city in places that a lot of folks won't tap into. And I got to say this, appreciate having a star like that in your city because there's a lot of people that are side-eye him or criticize what he's got going on. We've seen this, and I love what Pac's done here too, but Jeff's doing it in a different way on the same blueprint. Embrace that man while he's around and doing stuff and positive lights around the city, man. I got word this weekend that Jeff was chilling, and I was just like, good. Let that man be cool and y'all embrace him, man.
He was at our high school game of the week last week, Innsworth Lipscomb.
Yeah, that's what
that man is special.
He is, man.
He is special.
I think you look at it and he sees the pats on the back and how celebrated guys like Kevin Byard are.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's because they incorporate themselves into the community like that. And like you said, man, Big Jeff just signed a humongous contract, and he out here with amongst the people. You know what I'm saying? That's great to see. You know what I mean? I was just having lunch yesterday. Not to get off track, I'm going to let you have it, Will. But my man, I call him Chuck the Boss, man. Chuck McDowell, man. I'm having lunch with him, man, and we were sitting there talking, and he was asking some things that I wanted to do. I was like, man, just really get back into schools and be able to talk to these youth and just let them see you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you see us, you hear us on radio, you see us on TV, we're supporting the Titans, this, that, and the other, but to be able to walk in them schools, in middle schools, in high schools, and talk to these kids and them see you and they associate the celebrity that you got, air quotes, that I can do that too.
Sure.
Like, I grew up at TSU, so I automatically thought when I was younger, college, you just do college. You know what I'm saying? But my friends didn't have that same opportunity, so if they didn't see a star come back or somebody like that in college, you don't automatically get conditioned to thinking that, that's what I'm supposed to be like that. You know what I mean? College, I am supposed to go to college. That's what you do. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, man, and he was on board for that. And we come from two opposite ends of the track, you know what I'm saying? And his bank account, woo, way up. But it's good to hear that, you know what I mean? You still thinking that same way. So yeah, man, that was dope. That's dope. Solid. Yeah, I'm glad you pointed
That's good
that out,
stuff.
Dree. Yeah.
Good stuff.
So Big Jeff, you are that guy.
Absolutely.
You are.
In pretty much
He is him.
in every setting possible, I think Jeffrey Simmons is that guy. Slay, the Tennessee offensive line, not those guys in Gainesville.
Oh my God.
I know you talked about it yesterday, and you were honest about Tennessee getting their butts kicked in the Swamp. But how do you move forward from this game? I don't think this is what any of us expected. And I think to your point about getting rid of battered Vol syndrome and letting that lie, the narrative of this game doesn't have to be, oh, Tennessee loses in the Swamp again.
Right.
I think it's more so what Josh Heupel can control, and that's the fact that they haven't won an away game outside of the state of Tennessee since last October.
Yeah.
Early October, too, in Baton Rouge in a noon game at LSU.
Yeah, you got to get back to it. You got to self-check yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I think that comes with the coaches as well. I think a lot of the free-flowing, catching people off guard, now that's no longer happening. You know what I'm saying? And when you're talking about the Florida game in particular, I think you walk into it, Florida fans didn't call in, leading up to that game because they didn't believe they were going to win. Honestly, they want to win, but they don't want to call in and talk trash and be like, I got to stand behind that because, man, I do think they have the better team. So for that to go down there and go down that way, man, kudos to them. Props to the Swamp. The Swamp was the Swamp. You know what I mean? That was totally different. That wasn't the deadened swamp, you know what I mean, with grass growing and everything. No, it was
petrified wood.
Yeah, this was murky water down there, and they were in it. So, man, salute to them for that, man. They held it down, so they created an atmosphere that was different. And I think that's part of it too, Will. Tennessee has to know that walking into these places, what Neyland presents as an atmosphere, people watch that and want to match that when you come to see them. You know what I'm saying? Like, they sick of that. Georgia players came out and said, man, no offense to our Georgia fans, but, man, I think one of the hardest places to play probably is going to be in Neyland.
Mm-hmm.
You think the fans want to hit? Man, these people crazy. They going to come out. So you got to be prepared for all that. And I thought one thing from the players saying, and this could be just me, block out the noise. You got to block out the noise. My thing was embrace it. Why not get caught in the moment?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not going nowhere. He said the same thing. Man, them fans right on top of you. Fred White said the same thing when we brought him on. Hey, man, I will say, man, when you walk out there, boy, it just goes up.
It does.
And them fans are right on top of you. I'm like, dog, so give me that. All right, well, guess what? We in here. That's one thing. We ain't coming. We in here. Shout out to Dion. But we sitting right here in it, man, and we ain't going nowhere either. So it's going to have to be a battle. I expect more on the offensive line. It's only so much you can expect, man, when you get in the center. The center false start. Dude, it's a... Two people definitely know the snap count. I don't care if nobody else knows. There's two of them that know. Right? That's the quarterback and the center, dog. They know it. Like, come on, what are we doing, man? So I think, getting Cooper Mays back will help. A lot of good is given. I think Joe Milton, that's the low-hanging fruit without question. Yeah. But you got to imagine, man, how many times you got to see Hendon Hooker sitting flat-footed in the pocket. Mm-hmm. Like, we started to think, like, dude, what? Why is he not on his toes and on the balls of his feet? Why is he flat-footed? Like, he's protected, and he knows it. You know what I'm saying? We saw him get blown up one time. That was at the LSU game when they came on that safety blitz. It never happened again.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Other than that, man, that boy was protected. Joe Milton ain't protected. Right. Plus, he's not an instinctive get-out-of-trouble type quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So it's ugly. With those measurables, you would think, because the comparisons is Anthony Richardson, Cam Newton, like you're like, dude, what? You got that body, like
run over somebody.
Who's in there?
Yeah. And I think that's what gets people, honestly.
Like, how did Eli Manning get in your body, but it's Cam Newton's body? Like, what? Like, you don't want to go nowhere? What are you doing?
And that's the thing with Joe is that he's making the plays in front of him, but Hendon Hooker was making off schedule, making guys miss and doing more.
He had that Josh Dobbs factor.
And that's exactly. And that's what Tennessee fans, I think, are clamoring for. You got to differentiate the two, right? Mm-hmm. Joe Milton is playing up to the standards I think we all had for him in the offseason, but not the Hendon Hooker standard.
Yeah.
So, like, where is that line for you? What should be expected of Joe Milton? Because there are a couple plays. There was a third down in the second half where he scrambled for the first down on 3rd and 6. And I'm sitting there like, was that so hard?
Let's not do
like,
some more.
Speed up the clock a little bit. You are as athletic as anybody on the field at any position.
Yep.
Use it.
Yep. Why wouldn't you? I mean, you did it in the Virginia game.
Right.
You stuttered and then said, "Oh man, this guy's smaller than me. Let me run him over."
Run him over.
Here's another opportunity in the swamp. This guy, you
Yep.
really gonna get some acclaim. Like Dobbs just did it.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like you look at Dobbs and you look at guys like Hendon Hooker, and they have those scratch your head moments, and you're like, "Oh yeah, that worked." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Joe Milton, we want those scratch your head moments with you. Like, and success comes with that. You take the chance. It is what it is. And we're not talking about throwing. We're talking about take off and create something.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. You know what I'm saying? But it's going to be interesting to see how they grow. I heard Hypo say a lot about communication between coaches. Like, and I was talking to Sammy. Sammy brought it up on the Volunteer Podcast?
The UT podcast.
Yeah.
Rate,
So,
review, subscribe.
Yeah, went on there and did that, man. And Sammy brought that up, and she was like, I'm just shocked. Nobody asked him what communicating with coaches mean. I was like, you know what? That's right. Like, who is it? Is the players communicating with coaches, or is it not having an ear? Like, what is it? So, going to be interesting to see what happens. But I think you have to be able to put these week by week into a capsule.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You can't let this spill over into the next week. You got to gain control. And I do think from what the way the players are talking, that they do have their eyes set on it as far as making corrections and being able to keep going forward.
We were talking about how much they missed Darnell Wright up front. And just, wow, maybe we didn't even give him the flowers he deserved. I mean, he deserved, because now you're looking at that line and saying, my goodness,
Absolutely.
he did a lot. Is that fixable? Is that line fixable?
Yeah, I think so. I think when you get a guy like Cooper Mays back, who was your quarterback of the offensive line, it takes more onus off of Joe Milton. So now, and you correct me if I'm speaking that line, now hey buddy, you got these big fellas up front.
Sure.
I got these skill guys. Now let me operate. You know what I mean? Let me get all this guy. I ain't got to worry about y'all. All that snap count stuff. Dude, you own that. You know what I'm saying? And then you also get the guys to go back to their original normal positions, looking at NWI.
Yeah.
Playing the 3. Man, people call him the man great. No, he's him. That's him in that role. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a power forward. Leave me at the power forward. Yeah, I can play small forward, but you want me at the 4 spot. Leave me where I belong, and I think Cooper Mays allows guys to settle back in, and you have a steady head, steady hand in environments that he's been in with great guys that are growing, guys with experience. So he has all of that to take care of up front and make checks. You know what I mean? Joe may not see it.
I'll say this, and I didn't understand it in my time. I'm going to reference my old organization one time on this show right here. In our building, around the upstairs where the players meet at, there's a wall that says the center. Okay. And I honestly didn't understand it. They got each guy from each arrow, just the center. And you think, why the hell is the doggone center? You know, the focal point of what we got going on here. But to that point, the center eases everybody over.
Sure.
He's the second quarterback. The importance of having a guy that can settle everybody down where, the snap count going to be there, to understanding where everybody's going. There's so much that guys do. That's why, honestly, I was excited to see Aaron Brewer go to center because that puts him, he's smart enough, athletic enough, and can do the job. That spot right there is underappreciated, I feel like, in almost every level of ball that you play, from high school, college, all the way up. And it shows when you don't have a good one. That center position is huge. It eases you.
Right.
It settles you. And I was just like, I get it.
Yeah.
That spot means a lot to the quarterback, to the dudes working right next to him. And if you got a good one, you doggone know it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coming up, we'll get Slay's thoughts on the Titans win over the weekend, from the negative on Saturday to the positive on Sunday. And a heck of a tailgate looked like that was going on beforehand.
Man, ooh.
Line dancing. There we go.
We'll dive more into that coming up next. RKW, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, getting you on your way with the Buck Rising Show up next. Ron Slay with us in studio.
Yes.
With us. The Buck Rising Show's got Blaine Bishop on at 11:30, Eric Kane at 12:20, and Friendship Christian's Tyson Walcott at 11:45.
Okay.
There we go.
Nice.
Slay, the Titans got a big win, and it looks like you took an even bigger win with how fun the tailgate looked before the game.
I did, man. Hey, man.
Yeah.
Will Lee, it's always popping up there. I'm telling you, man. Then the big, I'm telling you, you got to, dog. We up there 3 hours before every kickoff, 9 to 12. Well, yeah. Before every kickoff, 3 hours
Right?
before, I'm just automatic.
I know. I'm like, what?
Yeah, 3 hours before at the Bridge Building. All you can drink, man. All you can drink, man. Hey, leave me alone, Will. All you can drink.
He's still at that party.
I automatically go fried brain, man. All you can eat, all you can drink is silent auctions. You got a kids station with Xboxes and PS5s for the kids so they can be out your hair. It's 4 floors. DJ C Wiz, legendary DJ C Wiz on the ones and twos, and me MCing, bartenders. It's the whole works, man. And I'm telling you, we make a family reunion vibe go on right there. It ain't nothing but a big picnic, cookout. Like it's going down, man. And I was shocked. Usually the opponent's fans come in, and be deep, dude. Like the Titans showed up. I was like, okay, because usually don't get it till Titans win a few games, and then people showed up. I think we had like 400, 350, 400 people.
Let's go.
Usually it'd be like a 200, the first time. So, man, shout out to them, man. Y'all go to Bullseye Event Group, go to the social media, get tickets, listen to the Zone. You can get tickets. So, stay tuned, man. It's a great
Ain't
time.
no telling what you're going to say in that. It was such a good time. And I told you, first time that I've been in Nashville, been around, you know how you take time to yourself, like, man, I'm going to take a little walk.
Yeah.
I did that river walk from in front of the stadium over there to
It's
the Bridge
so quick.
Building.
That's a vibe.
It was
Right
beautiful,
there.
though, but just that seeing Nashville at its purest was
beautiful.
super
The best
dope.
view ever.
And then ain't no telling what you're going to see inside that Bridge Building.
Yep.
I saw an older white gentleman. You hear me? Word for word. Word for word. You hear me? On
Yeah.
Vanilla Ice.
Yep.
So
Let's
much so Savage
go.
handed in the mic like, hey, we can karaoke this thing if you want to.
That's all
It
ages,
was.
man. You can't
That's
miss.
great.
And then
Can't
you
miss.
tripped me out by saying the kids' floor. They got
Yeah.
video games there, so parents,
Yeah,
drop them back.
yeah.
Kids
I
off.
will be there no matter what.
It's like 5-6 stations too, so you can just run
Yeah.
through it. I got me so the silent auction, I was able to get the black Tennessee helmet with Peyton Manning's autograph on
Nice.
there. Yeah, I got that. I got the Mike Tyson glove autograph. So
Oh, my gosh.
I done helped them out
Goodness
over there.
sakes.
Yeah, I'm just good auction item.
Dang.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
I thought about bidding on something. I was just like, I ain't know the people
I
that
didn't
knew
do
the
it.
people
Chris
that
did
knew
it.
it.
You know what I mean? She got a nice system that she does.
Well,
too.
I saw some stuff in there that I liked.
You
There.
need to tell
You need to
your
bid
sister,
next
man.
time.
Next
Make
home
it
time.
happen.
I'm gonna see you Cincinnati game.
It is.
I imagine you like what you saw from the team, too, after the tailgate.
I did, man. I loved it. I missed the first quarter because we couldn't get people to go out. Hey, y'all, it's over.
You're lucky.
See, Wiz had to turn the music off. Like, leave, y'all, so we can get over to the game. But once I got over there, man, I will say, watching it, I was like, oh man, not again. Like, why we not moving the ball? And then all of a sudden, Traylon
play.
Burks, boom, and it blew the roof off of it, and it started rolling, man. So I hope that you start to see a better rhythm, people getting used to each other, more of a flow, offensive line doing better. It's funny what guys with experience can bring without ratings even being there. I feel like he brought a presence that was a little bit more calming.
Yeah.
More of a, I know what to do in this spot. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, it ain't gonna be perfect, but just him being there, being able to play with guys like Brewer before, them knowing how they think, you need that, man. And I think you saw that, and you saw Tannehill start to settle down.
Sure.
He wasn't happy feet like he was in New Orleans. He settled on in, play action working, and it was just so much great stuff. Not zeroing in on DeAndre Hopkins, but when it was time, you know what you needed? It's overtime. We need a pass. You saw them talking. If you go back and look at the copy, you saw them talking in the huddle. And DeAndre Hopkins talking about, you want to run it now? Like, you want to do that now? It was just like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so that was good to see them have that connection. You know, you can tell that was built in the offseason and then coming into this season. So go to him. You got a security blanket right there. Catch it.
You do.
Go kick the field goal. Nick Folk, Lord have mercy. Woo! Woo!
Thank
Folk hero.
goodness, right?
Folk hero, folk music, like folk with everything.
Folk,
man.
yeah.
Kim Folk.
Folk, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Kim Folk.
Kim
Kim
Folk.
Folk. Hey,
Kim Folk,
that's
all of
it,
that.
man. Like, that was beautiful. And then the defense, you can't say more. We were able to interview Aziz yesterday.
Oh, he's great.
Man, I was so well spoken. Asked him, man, like, what did you think about, being in Nissan for your first game? What'd you think about the fans? He was like, man, they gave us what we needed. He said, going into that fourth quarter defense. He said, I couldn't hear. He said, I had to put my hands over my ears like, hey, you got to repeat that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, like that was dope, man. So salute to the fans. That was all together, man. It ended the right way. I think it started a little rough, but
almost.
Ended the right way.
You couldn't get over to us on Titans Radio.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, what?
So, hey. Oh, yeah. So, hey, man. Listen, Titans Radio 500, Mike Keith, Greg Gordon, Phil, Brad Willis, Savage, Titans Amy, all of them, man. I'm trying to get in there to give them some love, man. I'm telling them I'm on the way. So I got my chain on, you know what I mean? I got my Titans jersey on. So I'm supporting. Man, I get to the door. I come down. The lady say, can I see your credentials? I was like, yeah, here you go, She was like, yeah, but you look like a fan. I said,
Wait,
I said, yeah. She said, you look like a fan. I said, like, what will give you that? She said, I mean, you got a big chain on. Like, I was like, yeah. I said, I'm media.
I wear two hats. What are you talking about?
I'm media, though. She said, well, you look like. I said, man, I'm both, man. You know what I mean? Like, don't do me like that. So I went on a text Savage, like, hey, dog, can somebody come get me in there, man?
Dude, they are strict
like,
on that stuff down there.
I'm with it, KK.
Right?
I'm cool with it. It's just like, come on, man. Believe me, I ain't trying to sneak in and get waters and stuff. Like, what's up?
Both, ain't
Come on, man.
Yeah.
People walking by saying, what up, slaves? The song we love to each other. I'm like, lady,
Exactly.
they know me.
Hello. 3 to
They
6,
call
3HL weekdays where you can hear Ron Slay, Brett Doherty, Don Davenport, Joseph Onkapiller, who hopefully can figure out how to play Madden again this week. Lord have mercy.
He got drug?
Bad.
Again?
It's not great. It's not great.
Dang.
Oh, come on.
Honk.
You can hear that laugh and much more from Slay.
You love that.
Later this afternoon. We're back at it tomorrow morning. Ramon Foster sent us home.
Yo, be sure to check out Joe Heasy get smacked around. Because his Twitter finger and his mic is always hot, man.
Oh, man.
I knew I didn't know that.